I'm back. I'm at the U.S. Capitol. It's raining right now, and unfortunately, I did not bring a freaking umbrella. And I'm gonna set this up on my selfie stick in just a little bit. But right now, I'm holding this over my phone so that my phone can be under my hood. But I am walking towards the Capitol building right now. Hopefully, we can run into some politicians and confront them about why they're doing this last minute. They knew about this. They knew this was going to happen. Ever since the lockdowns happened and people couldn't go to work. People couldn't go to work. And how can they pay their bills if they're not working? They're not receiving a paycheck. And so AOC, Ilhan Omar, all these progressives that are supposed to fight against these corporations like BlackRock that are buying off all these houses that people are being evicted from, they knew this was going to happen. They're supposed to be fighting against these corporations, but I mean, they're just grandstanding. Just like I called out AOC yesterday for doing. She was just there for a freaking photo op. As soon as she was done taking pictures, she left. Alright, so right now, I'm still approaching the Capitol. Pretty much near the spot where I was yelling at AOC from. Man, I wish it wasn't fucking raining, guys. I really hope my phone doesn't get too messed up. Doesn't get too wet. Who do we got in the live chat? Nitrum Case, what's up? Sorry, it was hard to read your name because there's like droplets on my phone. Shit. Let me put my hood back on. And I don't know why it's alright, there we go. Audio and video are good to hear. Alright, just so you guys can see where I'm at. I'm walking there right now. They meet over there on that side. Still walking there. Let me know in the chat if you guys saw any live streams on Twitter with Max Blumenthal or anything, because I know he was here earlier. I saw a picture of Jamal Bowman grandstanding here. Alright, it's starting to rain a little less, which is good. One second, guys, I'm almost there. Alright, I see some young kids coming out. Alright. show you guys. People are out here with their umbrellas. Let me zoom in for you guys. What up, Allie? Meteor Dreams, Log 66. All right. I'm gonna make this steady. I'm gonna get my selfie stick out. I'm gonna get my selfie stick out so it can be steady, alright guys?
It was really good to get into law school because there's thousands of political science.
Yeah. Oh, Oregon. I thought you meant my political money. And then he made me a better human being. It was
What's going on, Kobe?
What's up, man? Let's say, do we want to go ask some questions?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna. What's your name again?
Huh? You guys gonna get in trouble?
No, not at all. No. No, we're good faith.
I don't know if you guys saw it. I'm the one who asked her that question originally a week ago. Oh, really? And she didn't answer it. She wouldn't go on camera answering it. So then at the March for Medicare for All, I was the one who called her out for not answering the question. And then Max asked her the question yesterday, and she didn't answer the question again.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I think you gotta influence it.
It's like everybody's got their own angle, right? Everybody's got their own focus in their activism.
Yeah.
Follow me on Twitter, ProPeace97.
Yeah. Remember to check out Gabriel Mate.
Gabriel Mate.
Gabriel
And
Mate.
remember to check out Hate Inc. by Matt Taibbi.
Gabriel is nothing to do with
If you don't agree on it.
How do you know? No,
Oh my God, is that Corey Bush? Hi, Corey Bush. Is it alright if I ask some questions? I'm completely independent. Just some questions about like what the next steps are.
yes, that goes through my press assistant.
That's good.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to know like what are the next steps like after this event? Like how are we gonna?
We can talk about it if we're gonna do it. We're just gonna have a conversation.
Okay. We can do it later,
Yeah.
like when she's done conversing.
Yeah, we can talk after. Give me a minute, 'cause I'm starting this out, and take a picture of Dawn, and then we can talk after. We
Okay.
Who are you with?
Is there a time that I'm completely independent? My channel name is Frank Analysis. Frank with a C. It's a leftist show.
Okay.
You check out for a minute and then come back in a few.
Yeah, yeah. Is there an estimated time?
Yeah, I'll come talk to you in a few minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So is it like 15 or 20 minutes?
3 minutes. I'll come talk to
3
you.
minutes? Okay, sounds good.
3 minutes, I guess.
I guess so.
Am I in this? Am I not?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll wait. We'll hopefully get us and let us ask some questions.
Yeah.
It's so even, I love the way you did that. Austin is like a UK citizen and he's still here. It's so bad.
I was like 10 minutes from here, not too far. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna ask like, what are the next steps? You know, how are they going to hold like their colleagues accountable, the speaker accountable? It's not any hard questions. It's not, but I mean, we've seen how they went. Like,
That
those
quickly,
blasts.
right?
Yeah.
I just really want to ask the question about how they respond to their forced to vote critics who think they should use their leverage as a block. You know,
Yeah.
there's 220 Democrats in the House, 212 Republicans. They have an 8-vote majority in the House. They could withhold their vote on anything with 9 people on board, basically, including Medicare for All. And there's 117 co-sponsors for Medicare for All.
They could have withheld their vote for like these evictions. Like
Yeah.
put a floor vote so that we can extend this.
Well, because what did they do? Unanimous consent, right?
Yeah.
That's what Steny Hoyer put forward. Oh, is this Colin? What's up, man? I recognize you out of the corner of my eye. How you doing?
Colin, what's up? You want to get on camera? Not some questions, just say hi.
Yo, what's good?
What's up?
All right, so yeah, sorry. I just thought, so we're not doing any more interviews right now. She's done so many today. We're just like taking a breather for a minute, but I can give you the contact for our digital folks or like our press folks if that'll be helpful.
Okay. Yeah, I was like,
you want an email or something?
yeah, I can give you my email. I mean, we can just like sit down. Like I do like studio interviews too, so it's like,
Yeah, just like right now we're not doing any, but if you reach out and you want to do it, we can see about setting something up, sure. Or I can give you, yeah, you can give me your
As soon as we
email and I
walk
can give
up,
it to
they just
them.
all.
Either way, actually.
No, I
Alright,
watching
What is
this.
it?
Oh, yeah.
it's FRANCOB.
So yeah, I know.
Okay?
Yep, 903
Okay.
at gmail.com.
Cool.
And my name is Franco from Frank Analysis.
Did you just get here?
Frank.
Literally just now. Yeah, same.
Yeah, Frank with a C.
I want to ask questions.
All right, cool, man. I'll share this with our press folks. Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay.
Appreciate you being
Man,
here, man.
yeah,
Franco, you said? I'm
yeah.
sorry.
I would have loved to get like some, just hear from her,
Yeah, I
so, like,
know.
our trusted leader, about like how she's gonna fight, her colleagues.
Yeah.
Because obviously we know that they're all bought off by corporations, and we know a lot of people have hope in these progressive politicians to hold them accountable and to write legislation to prevent people from being evicted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's what we're working on. These people, some of them don't even know that we're out here still because they're off the grid on their vacation home. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
crazy. So,
Yeah.
all right, cool.
Looks like she
I'll
got
send it
the.
over to them.
All right. So are you were like her intern or something?
No, I'm on her policy team.
Her policy team?
Yeah.
That's tough.
You should tell her to look into Julian Assange's case and make a comment on it.
Yeah, you know what? Dude, the number of political prisoners that we try and do shit on is really high, actually, because have you been following the Steven Donziger one? Yeah, so that was one of the recent ones where, like, no one wanted to lean in, and we're like, hey, we're leaning in no matter what, and then everyone was like, oh, cool, we want to be a part of it, and we were like, okay. So sometimes if you, like, push it over the edge, then, like, a bunch of people are down to sign on, because there's all these folks in the U.S. who are locked up because they, like, sued an oil company or, like, leaked some really fucked up information or whatever, so yeah, I'll mention that to the person who covers it, though. Yeah. Thanks for being out here, y'all.
Of course, man. Yeah, covering this. Mainstream media is not out here covering it,
Dude,
but
actually,
independent media is out here.
Funny story, Fox News was here all this morning trying to
Only
get
Fox
on.
News.
Oh, really?
No, they were like, we want to do this on our local channels and on our main channel. And I was like, okay. But anyways, yeah, there's been a lot of, there are Toronto stuff. I don't know, there's been random media out a lot of today, but There's also been a lot of independent folks who are more likely, left stuff, who are more likely to be out here. But yeah, now she just did so many interviews in a row. But anyways, we're around. Thanks for being on.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, that was a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah,
Because I mean, it should be easy to answer the same. It should be easy to answer
And I
these
mean,
questions.
they're literally sitting right there. They'd have this conversation with us off camera, I bet.
Yeah.
That's the most frustrating thing. Is like I said, I could go over there and talk to
So
Corey.
you guys heard that Corey Bush does not
then-
want to be interviewed right now.
You sure about that? Considering she remembers you from last week.
But I'm saying, I bet you she'd give me more answers, but it would be fruitless because if it's off camera, it's like it didn't happen. That's the frustrating part. It's okay. I've got plans. I want a tomorrow bird dog for Julian Assange, but I have to do it very artfully.
You mentioned that, so he's definitely not gonna get interviewed now.
Why are you on?
That's like a no talking. They're not allowed to talk about that. AOC.
The Julian Assange thing?
They're not allowed to talk about it. Yeah.
Oh, I know. That's why.
Yeah.
I want to they're mid-speech.
And they're definitely not gonna hit me back up.
What?
They're definitely not gonna hit me back up. That was just bullshitting, to try to calm me down. Yeah.
I interviewed one person. But why
I mean, the message should be out from the politicians. I mean, they work for us.
Well, like some people were pointing out on Twitter about how, last minute spontaneous protests like this, it's harder to get as many people out, whereas March for Medicare for all.
Yeah.
Organize with us one step at a time. Could be much bigger.
My cousin kind of went off
Yeah, we can talk to some of the other people here and get their thoughts on all this and ask them why they believe in what they believe in.
Yeah, like why they came out today. How long they've been here. People I talked to earlier were very, they were like probably liberal establishment. I think it was open-minded. Like they were talking just about issues, policies like Israel-Palestine, things like that. I could just tell from some of his answers. Like,
So she did not want to.
She
She did not want to get interviewed by me.
Like I said, I only been here 20 minutes. I interviewed one person and then interviewed one person and then started talking to me for a long time.
and they're like, oh, okay. Like,
Who is Mo coming on? You know Mo's, do you know Mo?
I only met him last week.
I only met him last week also. He's coming on a bus. So I'm curious how many people would have other than him be coming on the bus. I heard there's supposed to be like 1,400 working families part of people here. Yeah, that's a scoop right there, Frank. Supposed to be lots of people tomorrow. I heard Green Party people, PSL people.
What you guys could do?
Huh?
I'm gonna let you guys know what you could do.
You want me to do what?
What you guys could do is you guys have like a recording app, right, on your phones. You could have that on.
While you're
I could
talking.
be while I'm filming. You can have that like in your pocket and just like ask her something. And if
What
she
do you
doesn't want to answer, then it's gonna be recorded anyway.
What do you mean, like have the audio on my phone, like
Yeah.
a microphone? I wonder if I have an app for that.
If you don't
You have
have
an
it, you can
iPhone?
download it. If it comes with an iPhone, yeah, it comes with the iPhone. Yeah.
I'm just wondering if it'll be hearable in my pocket.
It will.
It's voice memo.
Voice memo is the name of that.
Yeah.
I might have it.
Either one of you guys. She might have more trust in you.
Yeah, because she doesn't know you as well.
That she does. I met her last week.
Oh, you can just be like, "Hi, remember me from last week?" Trust me, it'll be okay. You have a nice guy complex. Well, not complex, but you come off as a nice guy. I don't think she'll be too afraid of you. She'll be more afraid of me if I come at her with like a camera.
Need to get one of those
Body
flowers.
cam?
Yeah, flower you wear on your shirt, something.
What do you want me to ask?
Like, what are the next steps? Like, how is she going to pressure Congress after this? And also, like, why is she doing this now? Why didn't she do this months ago when she's a legislator? And she could have, made revisions to the stimulus bills and like withheld her vote until she could make the changes to extend evictions. Mention also that BlackRock is going to buy off a bunch of houses that people are being evicted from, and she's supposed to be fighting these corporations. And what is she going to do about that?
Didn't Kamala just appoint somebody from BlackRock to her staff?
It wouldn't surprise me if she did.
Something like that. But
Yeah.
No, I think she's like on the board or something.
Something associated with Kamala's vice presidency. Somebody from BlackRock. I should look that up. I just read that the other day.
So if anything, the clip could be uploaded with your audio. Like, I just match it. Okay.
Attempt 1. Oh, attempt 2, I'll do it.
It's crazy though. The people around are like, no.
Yeah, right?
Immediately.
I said that's literally, that's exactly why.
Max Blumenthal screwed it up for us.
No, I don't think he did.
No, I mean they're scared.
Yeah,
I mean it's a good thing what he did, but I'm saying there's more cautious.
like I
now.
said, my goal, my plan, whatever. I don't want to say my plan. Shouldn't say my plan out loud.
Okay.
Not a plan, not today. Yeah, I heard a lot more people were supposed to be here. That's what I was rumored in on.
I can't be here tomorrow.
You can't be?
Yeah. I have a lot of stuff scheduled for tomorrow. Unfortunately. I have an orthodontist appointment, and then I'm gonna be on Fred Hampton Leftist.
Oh, nice. Who are you interviewing with?
Jackie and Meg.
Oh no, because tomorrow's Monday, so you're on
Nerdologics.
Yeah, Nerdologics.
Yeah, it'll be fun. What's up, Glory Jones? Yeah, and propaganda. She's not here, Glory. It's Cori Bush. Oh yeah, if we start chanting, there's only one decision.
I thought about that if I did it.
When we're about to head out, we can do that. But we don't.
No, I'll probably do. Like I said, tomorrow I've got my plan. If it works. You gotta do it at the time where it has maximum visibility. But it will definitely get an answer one way or another.
Yeah.
Might interview another random person, just ask why they came out, who they blame for the eviction moratorium running out. The
Yeah.
person I just asked didn't, who did they blame? I don't think they gave a non-answer. I think it was kind of like, there were a lot of different people.
Yeah.
I mean, they said, she said, she's definitely a Democrat, definitely liberal.
So a lot of them here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick Brana told me he was going to be here, and there's no sight of him.
Is he maybe on the other side?
Huh?
There's nothing on the other side.
What
No.
I'm saying is
He probably was here earlier and left, or he was just lying.
they probably saw it was so small, maybe.
He was, because he was telling me, oh, we can talk tomorrow. We can talk tomorrow. Like, no, I know you're going to push it back so that you avoid me, and you won't show up tomorrow.
Wait, so what did you tweet? I saw you tweet something about that earlier today. That he won't go on your show.
Did you see the clip?
I did not see the clip.
Okay.
I just saw the tweet. What was it about?
I was asking him why he won't come on the show to respond to some of the criticisms that some of the ex-petitioners have. And he calls them infiltrators. So it should be, if they're obvious infiltrators and the claims they're making are like whack, then it's easily debunkable then. So it should be no problem for him to come on the show and easily debunk it, and so that he can gain
So
the
he says
trust.
you're an infiltrator.
No, he was saying that some of the people that left the party were infiltrated. Yeah.
And we're just disrupting, trying to make it look bad.
Yeah,
type of
and
thing.
like if that's true, I mean, we can debunk, we can
Yeah, I mean, see, to me, I
we
feel
can
like
show evidence for that, and we can also debunk the claims that they're making
Yeah.
easily.
But
But
we
he's like, we
definitely
made a
need-
statement of like, well, why don't we break it down point by point? Because they were pointing out like what was wrong with that statement, and they had evidence to back it up. So do you have do you have
and it
counter
wasn't- it
evidence
wasn't
for that?
repeated properly, was it? I think I know the people you're talking about. I don't know all the complaints they have, but I definitely heard they get all the questions answered. And I think there needs to be dialogue between a lot of the third parties.
Yeah.
Movement for People's Party, Green Party, PSL. I
It
feel
should-
like
should all
we
be
can't-
united.
we can't be fighting amongst each other, for scraps, basically.
They should all be getting together and fighting together against the common enemy, but
Yeah.
they're not doing that, and I question why it is they don't want to unite with each other.
It's definitely confusing sometimes. And it's like I get not trusting, one faction or another, but like you said, dialogue, having a back and forth about the claims, and then reaching some sort of common ground.
Yeah. Yeah, we can walk around and socialize, I guess.
Got one, maybe 2 or 3 more. It's supposedly slowed down since I first got here.
A couple people left.
She didn't sleep very much, and she was just like trying to walk down the side of the top. I'm not trying to do that.
So people are like, yeah, F that.
Like, she walked around the side.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah.
Right, like that was her. That's not my fault. Per se. Like, and so my thought. Maybe I could be a satellite.
Sure. I'm holding this up right now. But yeah, I could try like with my one hand.
No, I wasn't going to either, but
Yeah.
I got a little curious.
But now,
Let me turn the flash on. Yeah.
I didn't get an opportunity to speak to you, but I knew you were out here. I wanted to make a comment. I'm pretty I thought it went well.
Got it.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Were you guys here earlier?
No.
Okay. You guys just got here?
We got here like an hour.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on all this? Like with everything that's going on, do you think that enough is being done? What do you guys think?
Like, I know.
Why not?
Right, I feel like it's kind of.
You guys aren't on camera, by the way. I'm facing it away. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In the richest country, right? They're supposed to be taking care of their people, and if they're not, then it's a failed state.
Right. Makes me not want to take the cross.
It's the richest country in all of history, and they're not taking care of their people. During one of the worst times, like the pandemic.
It's just hard that there's only like one member here. Like, there should be, like, I'm like, there's been a lot that have showed up in solidarity, but I feel like there should be more people really showing up.
AOC was here yesterday. Ellen Omar was here another day, but they were only here for a little bit. And like I saw AOC taking pictures with people, and then she left after that. And I was a little disappointed. I was like, why couldn't you stay like a little longer, like, to hang with us, you know? But also, I was saying like they knew about this for months. Like why couldn't they have like pressured their like their colleagues, or made some revisions to the stimulus bills? But I don't know. That's me.
I thought though that they only knew for like the last month that they weren't going to be able to federally, like the Biden administration wasn't going to be able to do it. I thought that it's only been 1 month.
Yeah. They should be holding him accountable. I mean, he could pass an executive order and stop this from happening.
Because like the Supreme Court came out and said like Congress, it has to be Congress's authorization.
Oh.
I understand.
And they should pressure the speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I read that she said like oh wait, we barely found out about this, so like we need some time. But I think in reality it was only for a month. So.
Yeah. I mean, if I were them, I would have, like, they have massive, like, Twitter following and stuff, right? They could have, like, tweeted stuff out earlier to, like, have people travel from, like, other parts of the country, and so they could be, like, this whole place could be filled up, right? Have more numbers here. But I don't know.
Do you live in DC?
Yeah. Yeah, I live in Montgomery County, in Silver Spring. Yeah, what about you guys?
Well, we're both from Central.
Oh, okay. You guys from out of the state then, or?
Yeah, we're from Texas.
Damn. What are you guys like? You guys Democrats, Republicans? Well, obviously, I don't think you guys are. If you guys are here. Okay. Okay. Do you guys have faith in the party? Like, do you guys think that we can reform it, or what do you guys think we should do?
I mean, I think it's our best path forward.
And then if not, what do you think we should do?
Why do you think we should start a new party or what?
New party? No, because right now, third parties are getting suppressed. Like, and right now, I don't think any of the third parties have a solid plan for how to overcome these obstacles. Right? So if they could gain my trust with a solid plan and have election integrity activists, then I would have my faith in them. But I don't have my faith in any of the third parties right now. But for me, I think that whoever is in office, like, we should be applying maximum pressure, like do things like this, like have more direct action and inform people in our community.
So are you trying to draw attention while you're living a life?
Yeah, just so that it could reach more people. People who can't be here because they're in like other parts of the country and stuff, so they're watching right now, and they can see like what's happening here because the mainstream media is not covering it.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, apparently, like Fox News is here, but the local Fox News. But I mean, that's it. Other than that.
While they are out here sleeping outside of the Congress.
Yeah, but all right, guys. I'll be walking around, probably run into each other again. But thanks for your time. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that tweet.
No, I didn't.
There was a park, I don't know where, somewhere else in DC, where it got closed off by a fence for renovations. And the homeless people's tents and stuff were still inside of it, blocked off, strewn around all over the place. The girl said she interviewed somebody or asked somebody what happened, and they were supposed to give 48 hours notice before they do something like that, so people can leave, the homeless people can go somewhere else, and they gave like 3 hours notice, 4 hours notice. Not enough to actually let the homeless people leave. Isn't that crazy? You can get evicted from being homeless. You can be evicted from where you're squatting.
They put spikes and stuff like outside of like stores and shit that belong to
It's so crazy when I
corporations.
watch comments like what Anna Kasparian had said earlier today about homelessness.
What'd you say?
It was basically that, I don't know if you heard about the bill in LA where they're making it illegal to sleep out on the streets in way more locations than
Where are they supposed to go?
Yeah, right. But Anna Kasparian was saying, well, come
And
on.
who's responsible?
She was like, well, come on, guys, we have to look at it from the other side of the story too.
The corporation side of the story?
When there's a homeless community outside, they, they bring
Katzenberg
drugs.
side
They
of the
bring
story?
drugs and crime and all that stuff. And yeah, it's definitely like how it. If she doesn't believe it, it's definitely just because she works on Young Turks and that's the corporate line that you have to give. You know, if I'm being generous, right? Yeah. I don't know how somebody, I watched something like that. I'm like, how did I think something like this progressive before? Makes me question myself how unprogressive I must have been before if I thought.
Good. How are you?
They were.
I'm completely independent. My channel's called Frank Analysis. Yeah, Frank with a C. Yeah. Yeah, we got 85 people watching, 76 likes. There should be 85, guys. How is there 85 people watching?
There's almost as many people
It's on
watching as
YouTube.
here.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm just trying to get this out to more people who are like not in the DC area so that they can know what's going on. Because where the fuck is mainstream media? They're not covering this. And we gotta have like people. We gotta make people have more hope in direct actions like these, rather than just relying solely on electoral politics.
What's your name?
Franco from Frank Analysis.
Okay.
Yeah, these guys have been guests on the show before too.
Yeah. Republican, Democrat pizza.
What?
Republican,
Yeah,
Democrat
so do you like the shirt?
Yeah.
It is my most complimented shirt that I wear, by far. Which is, cough, cough, why Corey should answer my question about force the vote. Lots of people like this shirt.
Yeah, she didn't want to get interviewed. Yeah. I was about to approach her. Huh? She's tired? Yeah. So what are your thoughts about all this? Like, do you think that enough is being done? Do you think that there's enough people out here?
I don't think there's enough people, but I mean, the circumstances. I mean, it's raining, it's 10, 15 people get out. I don't know.
How do you think we can get more people out?
I really don't know.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. I was mentioning to the ladies there how if some of the politicians who are here, who came here, if they had tweeted it out like a month ago, then more people could have showed up. Like some people could have made the trip, and they have a lot of followers.
I mean, imagine if they had reached out to a bunch of local organizations, said we're gonna all do this long, really organize it.
Well, that's the thing. AOC was an organizer.
Yeah.
Corey was an organizing activist. So it's not like they're brand new to this.
No.
They should have the capability to do something within a month, less than that.
It's that they don't have enough.
Yeah, nice
dialogue.
meeting you. Thanks for talking to us.
I just don't think they have enough dialogue with the activist community, enough open, transparent, not just, I don't know what who knows what they do behind the scenes. They need to be out in the media, with the March for Medicare for All. They should have been on CNN with Jake Tapper a month ago.
Yeah.
Being this March for Medicare for All is going to be in a month. It's already in 55 cities. We want to have as much pressure as possible. Just like Bernie had said, if he was president and Joe Manchin didn't support a bill, he said he would go to Joe Manchin's district and rally the people, to support the bill. I think that's the kind
He
of
said he
thing.
was going to be organizer in chief.
Yeah.
But
And it's I get this is good intentions, they realize they have nothing left to do, and this was kind of just, the last thing you could possibly pull out of your toolbox, but it's again, you should have pulled this out of the toolbox a month ago. You should have pulled this out of the toolbox, 6 months ago. Tied it to budget reconciliation somehow.
So, you guys think they're incompetent allies or just careerists?
I think it's careerism. Yeah, I don't think it's incompetence. I think it's careerism, definitely.
I mean, just having had the bonus of seeing Corey last weekend and just over the course of the week, just kind of seeing how things just kind of unravel.
Yeah, it's changed my
With
perspective.
really has, not to say I didn't have that feeling beforehand, but I think for me it's just definitely obvious that they're in it for this.
Well, because to me it's there's no way. I can't believe that they don't properly understand that force of the vote question. I can't believe that they would really chalk it up to oh, our hands were tied, it's Bernie's bill, it's Pramila's bill. No, you're not that, you're playing coy with us. We know that that's not what the point of force the vote was.
Wait, but clarify for me again, because you asked...
The thing is, the question requires 4 questions to actually properly ask the question. I need to ask her 4 questions.
But what did you ask her last time?
I said, how would you respond to your force the vote critics who think that the squad should use their leverage as a block to pressure for things like force the vote? It's a very complex question. There's all those words in it on purpose because it's like, again, it's not just an 8-month ago controversy. They can force the vote on Medicare for all again next time there's a must-pass bill. There's 220 Democrats in Congress, 212 Republicans, 117 co-sponsors of Medicare for all. You tell me we can't get 10 of these co-sponsors of Medicare for all and force it to the floor somehow by withholding a vote on something else, an unrelated bill? Some way to leverage their vote.
What was the other question that you wanted to ask?
Why did it not today? I buttered her up with the why did it not today, and then it was supposed to be the other one. But the problem was I didn't come up already filming like Franco is. I came up and asked if I could film.
Now you know for next time.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. We are lucky that we live around here, so there's more opportunities like that. It's not like if we were like, I don't know, if we were living in the West Coast, it would be way harder.
Yeah. We would not have nearly.
Or even like in New York, but it's harder to run into these. It's like a 4 or 5 hour drive to get all the way here.
But here,
yeah.
You just know where the events are happening. But the thing is frustrating is like that question, the answer yesterday, it's going to give people this perception of, oh, well, she answered it. Again, it's like, oh, why aren't you happy? Now it was on camera this time. And it's like, because she knocked down a straw man. She literally knocked down an argument that's not even related to what we're asking. Because my whole thing is, the people who organize March for Medicare for All are a bunch of, independent leftists. There are a lot of people who are alienated by the Democratic Party.
Like, it's very conversational.
Oh yeah, I gotta let them know the channel. Oh, yeah, by the way, if you guys want to follow, the channel name is Frank Analysis with a C, and then on Twitter it's @B43Franco. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks a lot again for your time, guys. I appreciate that.
Because it's not it feels like a pointless action in a sense, right? Yeah. It does feel very much so like there's literally nothing that will come out of this. I mean, I feel the only thing I can hope is that maybe in a week the Democrats will use this as a wow, we were so moved by Corey's action.
But you know what?
To come back, it would
But
be
you know
PR.
what? You know what's going to happen now? Because we're coming up with election season right now. They're going to use this for fundraising.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, you saw the Justice Democrats video here, right? You see Corey gave a
Yeah.
Justice Democrats video.
I didn't watch it, but yeah, I saw it.
It was very much, the speaker is with us, Maxine Waters is with us, we're all fighting really hard, us Democrats. And, it was really, the selling the Democratic Party type of thing.
No, that's why Corey's here. And that's why. As a proxy of the squad, just to be like, hey, look, this is what
See,
we're
we
trying
are
to fight
organizing.
for, and like, we are organizing, and yeah, give us money
Yeah.
for a campaign.
How many people would you say are here? Like
Now?
80, 70 to 80?
It was probably about the number we had for Warsaw. So that was about 60.
Now, first of all, when we were actually on the march itself,
I think there were more. I think there was a bit more.
This is
for,
like,
for like the peak that we hit for Force to Vote, I think there were more.
it was like 200 or 300 people. I think.
Yeah.
This one is probably, I mean, when I first got here, it looked like maybe 100. Now I
That
think
Monday
it's
though,
60.
because people had to work,
Yeah.
there were like about this many or a little less.
Wait, when you came out here?
For Force to Vote, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about yesterday when you came here?
Oh, yesterday was way more
people,
packed. Way more
people.
packed. Yeah.
I figured.
I guess because tomorrow people have to
Gotta
work
go to
or
work.
something. Yeah.
Today's
They
Sunday,
have
right?
classes.
I wonder if those.
But most
rumors-
of these people here are college students or just
Yeah,
like
that's
a little
why
bit
it
out
was
of college.
immediately, like, everyone here is young.
See, it's so frustrating because I wish I had been here yesterday when it was bigger, or earlier today when AOC and them all were here. 'Cause like I said, my whole thing is I want to work about this when they're mid-speech so that they can't ignore the fucking question. That's my plan.
Oh, before we leave, I'm definitely gonna like go up and like ask.
I'll go up. I have an idea of what I can do. I'll just
Okay.
give like a sad story just as far as like my family might be close to eviction or some shit like that. Like, what are your next steps so like my family doesn't get like
Yeah.
like that. Like, I'll make up some sense.
And what did AOC say on CNN today? was
She
talking
basically
about.
called out the Democrats that
We have to call a spade a spade.
Right.
That's what she said. But she was it was very much so like a asking permission to call out the corporate Democrats. I interpreted it as like a, listen, like we know conservative members.
I wish she would call
Democrats
out
are the ones-
Biden though. I wish she'll call out Pelosi though. I wish she'll call out Schumer though. She never does that.
Call them out by name. I thought it was interesting. I read an article earlier today that was talking about the infrastructure bill, and it talked about how there's one group of members in Congress who are withholding their votes, or they said that they're going to withhold their votes if
what's
these
going
tax
on?
deductions
What's
don't
going
get
on?
included.
All right.
But then it also said later in the article, it said that there are other progressive lawmakers who are Are you press?
Huh? Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Independent.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? I'm wondering, like, where's the press?
It's just independent out here. Yeah. All right. Looking forward to hearing back. Are you guys coming back to sleep here again, or are you guys just heading out to go home?
No, she's just lying down.
Ah, okay. All right.
Actually, maybe they're doing a call on the phone speaker too. I'm not sure.
Mm. All right, so she said she's not leaving. They said she's not leaving. Just in there to lay down and make a call. But I feel like her intern should know. But I also don't think that they'll drive away with that trash like back like on top of their trunk. Kobe over here doing his thing.
That it has to be accepted, because if it isn't, at the end of the day, people are going to be left out of their homes. And after a pandemic that has killed over 500,000 people, we need to do something to help them.
And so who do you blame for the eviction moratorium expiring?
Congress in general, and the Biden administration. I think it's unfortunate because
How's it
they're
going?
doing a fantastic job
Good.
at the beginning of this pandemic
Okay.
trying to address
Yeah.
the issues that were coming out of it. However, the fact that the Biden administration put down the Congress adjourned without actually acting on expanding that.
Oh, you guys know him? Okay. What does he do? Or like, what is he?
Yeah, so how do you feel about
Oh, okay. So you guys are like in a club or something?
It's broken. And while I will go from
Okay.
New York, where I
Well, not
originally
showing up. It's important.
Or you guys just know like that he knows his shit?
He's just like he's kind of shy. So like,
Oh, yeah.
he's also just really articulate. Like he's just really good.
It sounds like it. Yeah, it's like fast, sharp. Yeah.
He does have to use his hands. No homo.
And so could you ever imagine a day where you'd want to see the squad join the Workers' Family Party and leave the Democratic Party?
It's hard to say. I think that would be hard for the policies with losing the deficit.
Doing a good job.
But if things don't change with the filibuster, that might still happen. Thank you.
Yes, Justin! Woo! Over here. Yeah. You were so good.
Yeah.
You were great. You were great. That was humble.
Corey in the car.
Yeah,
Right there.
yeah. Apparently she's taking a call or she's just taking a
He
rest.
runs a Twitter channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally just post interviews of people on my Twitter account.
Oh, that's awesome.
I want to make a podcast at some point, but
You should.
figuring out the tech side of things still.
Nice, nice.
Do you guys like? Where do you guys get your info from? You guys listen to podcasts or what do you guys do?
Yeah, like social media, podcasts, mainstream media, like kind
Nice.
of conglomerate, because I feel like you gotta get the whole story.
Yeah, definitely diversify to get a bigger
Kind of
picture.
depends. I know a lot of them suggested to me. I kind of get sick of the ones where it's just like white men sitting around a table talking.
Bro, there's so many,
I know.
and they're all like above 100,000 subscribers on
My
YouTube and
favorite
stuff.
is the Daily from the New York Times, because just as safe,
Mm.
like Michael Barbaro, he does a good job. Just gives you like one story, and I don't find him boring. I find it very engaging. And that's a good one. Like every day, 6 a.m. or whatever it is, like you'll get it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I follow a lot of activists too on Twitter. I think they have good takes, and even though it's one point, they do have a lot of different information. Data for Progress is a really interesting organization that kind of gives you more in-depth reviews of different issues. So
Yeah, I think
that's all
Twitter's underrated.
Yes.
I remember in 2016, I had learned like a bunch of stuff about the WikiLeaks emails and all that stuff on Twitter, and I told Marty Barron. I don't know if you know the journalist Marty Barron.
I think I've heard the name.
We had a conversation about it. He was like, "Oh, Twitter. Like, you shouldn't believe anything you see on there." And I'm like, "Listen, man,
No,
you find
people put
primary
up-
sources
yeah.
on Twitter. You
Yeah,
find,
people
like,
share.
real
People are
on-the-ground
really
things
smart on there and share
Especially
good
during the
information.
protests last year, like solely social media, because I knew that mainstream media wasn't going about it. And that's
Or it's like a
what-
really biased way
right,
whenever
so
they
I
did
was looking
cover
for
it.
people who were there, who could actually say what was going on. And
And like I follow like Palestinian activists in Palestine doing mutual aid
Oh, yeah.
through Twitter. Like,
Or Syrian activists in Syria.
what's up, Mo? How you doing?
What's up? Nice to meet you.
So you rode the metro here, right? I wasn't sure if you came with anybody else or not. No.
Make sure I didn't like.
Slowly dying a little bit. Maybe 100 people when I first came out here.
Yeah, I saw your video.
Yeah.
Are you gonna say it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll say it.
Okay, well,
Did not work.
This should be easier for you, to be honest.
Yeah. They did. They said that they'll get in touch with you.
Oh, man.
As soon as he walked up, it was kind of like, hey guys.
it was nice meeting you.
Bye. Take care.
It was all him. Nice to meet you too. See you guys later.
You told them like where they can find the interview and all
What the interview? Oh yeah, if you want to see your friend's interview, where's she at? It's Pro Peace 97. Pro Peace 97 on Twitter. Thank you. See you guys
that?
later.
Bye.
I heard there's supposed to be a lot of Working Families Party people coming out here tomorrow, or so I was told. I was told 1,500 people.
Got music. Most of these people are college students.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was even going to come today.
I think we're like the only post-college students.
Well, I'm on break, otherwise I probably would not be here.
You come out here at all.
I'm glad that. Yeah, I met somebody the other day, yeah. I started with a different one.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah, definitely something. To me, it's like we should have done it. It all should be. There should be more coordination between them and us, so it's not like a spontaneous impromptu. Okay, come out, guys. That's what, it should be like, okay, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, we have to go.
That's why groups report. You do that the last
Oh,
year of the month.
100%. It's just like, it's so complicated because, not all performative things are made equal. Some people have a tendency to, equate all performative things.
There's no nuance.
Because like I said, Mayor Bowser painting the street Black Lives
She's
Matter.
covering
It's a much
herself.
worse. It's a bigger example of that where the Kente cloth means. It's because there's no substance behind it. It's too late to actually do anything. But at least it's with the intent of extending the eviction moratorium. Whereas now Mayor Bowser painting the street was a symbolic gesture against Trump. It was literally all.
But they make nothing.
That's right, Anna Ringwald. Freaking bad. Watch out for BlackRock. They're like BlackRock will end up with all the good land. They're taking up all these houses that people are getting evicted from. Oh yeah, let me get a shot of these signs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're
How
not
long
the
were they
first
here?
one.
Yeah.
So I don't know, me and the guy I interviewed, that's what made me interview him, was we both took pictures of the signs. Oh, for the group chat? I guess we haven't taken pictures yet. The only light that I can think of is that light or that light. Do you want it on or no? We're gonna try to get the Congress light. I'll get one with flash and without, just so you can compare. Yeah, at least one of the signs is in good. You can hold it together.
And I think I parked in the restaurant, I parked right next to Adam's thing, you know, so I was in my car and I was like,
Any suggestions on any differences? No words.
with you I like it. I like that. Last night it got almost sweaty, so today I have my.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let me. Yeah, but on Twitter it's different.
This is MLK Malcolm X
At B43. Yep, Franco, there I am. Yeah.
We were on his podcast.
All right. Yeah, they're regular
Yeah.
cast. Yeah. It's called Frank Analysis. Frank Analysis. Yeah, she just followed me. She could probably give you like my at and all that. Franco. That is my last name. Yeah. But yeah, no. My show I just go by my last name. My first name Bruno Franco. But yeah, because when I originally started, my friends that I was doing a podcast with would call me Franco. So I just stuck with that, and it also
Two first names.
yeah, and it also like the name goes like Frank Analysis, Franco from Frank Analysis. Yeah. All right.
I think whoever signed
Take it
is-
easy, guys.
What you say?
I said take it easy. Oh, I didn't know if they were heading out.
Yeah, as soon as I showed up, I knew Corey was still here because I saw the guy in the plaid shirt. I recognized him. too tall to miss.
Ah, shucks, prop. You're making me blush. If I could have one man in my life, it would be Franco. Aw, buddy, you maple syrup, you.
Oh, are we gonna take this picture? I forgot about it.
That's all right.
It just like trips me out being on this side of it now because I was here last summer when they were like hyper militarized and we could not get anywhere close to this. And then this time they just walk right in.
Yeah, I'm
I'm happy. This is a nice change from when the militarized Lafayette Park. They remember to kept pushing us further and further and further and further. Yeah, it's nice to be closer.
Tired. Yeah. Said can someone give him an oat milk latte?
How much you want to bet that she's going to stay in that car?
I wouldn't doubt it. And then they're gonna leave all the pizza boxes and trash that's in the trunk, and it's gonna fall off.
Which are you, Virginia side? It's probably easier to take the metro in.
Where Pilgrim? All right, for people who are just tuning in now, that Corey Bush is in that car. She wasn't letting me interview her. As soon as I started approaching her security or whatever went up to me, her bodyguards, and said that she's not taking any interviews. And then one of her interns went up to me and asked me for my email, which I don't think they'll email me back. And they said they'll get back to me, which I don't think they will. And she was out here sitting with people, and then she went in the car to lay down, and it looks like she was had a phone call in there. Bye. Take care.
Yeah, I'm not trying hard enough to figure out OBS and how to design it's like
It's cool sometimes when they're like someone's like
Yeah, Namor, that's definitely it, man. That's definitely it. It's just here for pictures. She gets the chance to lay down with her little AC in there.
Which is not an example of what it's like to be homeless.
Yeah, homeless people can't do that.
So if you're gonna do it, commit.
it's nice, but it's like not
Exactly, Colin.
not as exciting as you might think. Yeah, it's kind of dull. I mean, Sweden, but it's
But no, actually I say that because I used to work for the homeless community, and I know even with this stunt, they wouldn't appreciate that.
Come out, Corey Bush.
There was one at midnight, and there was one at 9 in the morning. So I had to take the midnight.
Alright, let's see. 2 new people are showing up now.
And it was an outside train station when I showed up. My plan was to sleep on the ground at the train station. It was raining. I Googled 24/7 McDonald's near me, and there was one 2 miles away. I walked to McDonald's and slept at that McDonald's. So now, when I'm studying there, every time we go to that McDonald's, I'm going to tell all of my friends every time. I slept at that table right there.
I think they're like fast food.
It's healthy. I'm going Yeah, I think it's controversial because in Denmark, they passed a law where they were banning and it's like it's controversial because the religious freedom side of it, and it's like what do they do? I think they put them to sleep to kill the animals there. Like I mean, compare that to like factory farming in the U.S. where
Riding an ice cream
they
truck.
torture the animal its entire life. I think halal and kosher, at least they're supposed to treat
Yeah,
the
let's
animal
just
well.
like look at it.
I mean, what's
Then talk to me about it.
and what's the difference between putting in meat and killing it and halal, where it dies within 10 seconds? And it's like, I guess there's just less pain there. It's still larger.
I think it's mixed. Because it's just, it looks more personal. Like at the end of it, you're putting an animal later.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're still killing the animal. So what does it matter? Whereas the factory farming, at least then, the meat is like unhealthy, lower quality meat.
And they feed the animals shit too. Like they feed the animals shit too.
Yeah.
The way they live, everything.
Oh, see,
It's not just the way they die, you know?
my history of asking these hard questions. When I went to a Purdue chicken factory field trip in college, I asked the people about Food Inc. and how in Food Inc.
Okay, so people who are tuning in, and once again, just to let people who are tuning in right now, Cori Bush is in that car. Earlier, she was out here, she was sitting right there on those steps, but her bodyguards did not let me interview her. They said she's not taking any more interviews, that she's too tired. And then one of them went up to me, it was like an intern, and said that he could, he asked me for my email so that we can arrange an interview, which I don't think will happen. And then, a couple minutes later, she went in her car, laying down in there, something homeless people can't do, laying in there with her AC and her blanket. And we're just waiting to see if she can come out, and I can probably ask her some questions. There's only one other person in there with her.
Maybe try to going homeless, but that's me just being optimistic. I don't actually think it's going to change.
She might stay in there until who knows how long. But the car's gonna overheat if she stays in there too long with the car
I'm
on.
kind of optimistic that maybe somehow they'll reconvene or something, but she's not going to go home until it happens, right? I don't know. I think they'll.
If that's true, then good on her.
That'd be good, yeah. So if that's, like I said, if she's actually here like 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, like you were saying, if she actually stays out here.
Voltaire, don't worry, man. I'm chilling. You know I'm always chilling. You know I'm always calm.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's my thing, like, especially with the online, if there's no nuance. Like, it's good that she's doing this, but she's giving me another episode.
Yeah.
Like, you can't criticize her.
It is frustrating. I like Me too.
At minimum.
The March for Medicare for All, like a week ago, is the perfect example of like, I feel like we're so in the know for bringing a lot of people, just how uninvolved
Yeah, exactly. Again, try to change, shut up, but I just like to respect the
Hello.
What's up, man?
What brings you here?
I wanted to live stream this because mainstream media is not covering this, and hopefully ask people like Cori Bush or other Congress people that come over here some questions about, what are the next steps now? Like, you came out here, you want to send a message, so now what are the next steps? Like, are you going to pressure your colleagues so that we can extend the eviction moratorium? But they told me that, like, her bodyguards told me that she's not taking any more questions now. So now I'm just like broadcasting what's going on.
I see.
Yeah.
Have you thought about just the possibility of just checking in with people about filming them a little bit more, just so that they, just so that they're involved in it, mutual involvement? Because I think some people are feeling a little bit sensitive, like with the camera blaring.
Oh, and what would happen if like mainstream media was filming this?
What's that?
What would happen if mainstream media was filming like the event?
Well, that's a separate topic. You're a guerrilla filmmaker here, and we've got like a neighborhood block party feel here.
Okay, so what would be how would that be different?
Well,
here, let me see. Let's chat here. I won't put you on camera.
You can
You're
put
not
me
on
on
camera.
camera. Okay, okay, if you want. But I'm just saying, how can you work with us? And I'm not representing this group, but you know what I mean? Like I get that you want to be a representative of absolute truth, and I see you trying to document something dutifully.
Yeah.
But maybe you could work with us a little bit more, because I see some people who are feeling uncomfortable about just being filmed, and they don't know why you're here exactly, And
I'm just live streaming the event. Like if people I went up to some people, if they wanted to talk, they talked. If not, then I respect that and I walk away. If they don't want their faces being shown, I point the camera the other way. And then we can hear their voice.
Oh yeah, you filmed some stuff where people didn't want to be filmed, and they got filmed when they didn't want to be filmed.
Okay.
And
that happens all the time at events like this. People do that all the time. If you're gonna go out to
maybe you're of the school that other people's feelings don't matter.
No, it's not that. It's just that if you're gonna come to an event like this, people are going to be broadcasting it. It's going to be in the news.
Doing this to us rather than working with us.
No. I'm fighting for all the homeless people. They need to see who's out here fighting for them, right?
Well, okay. But
yeah.
But if you're fighting for homeless people, then why are you making so many people feel uncomfortable when people are voicing that they're uncomfortable?
You're the first person that's told me that, and you said you don't mind being in front of camera.
That's me personally. I don't speak for anybody else here. I speak for myself.
Well, then they can walk away out of the camera. But once again, if we are at an event on the ground, there's going to be people protesting. Not at all.
You don't think that makes
Why would it be it's objective.
I've heard people say that, and I'm just trying
How is it adversarial?
If you're here to work with people, if you're here to support people, why don't you work with people and only film people if they want to be filmed, rather than film people when they don't want to be filmed?
You know what? There's security cameras all over here in DC. Do you want to be filmed by that?
Well, that seems like kind of a red herring, really, right?
How's it a red herring? You're saying that you don't want people to be. Some people feel uncomfortable being filmed, but there's security cameras all over DC, filming your every move.
That's true, but
do you feel uncomfortable by that?
That's not the same thing.
How's it not the same thing?
You presented yourself here as a person who's in solidarity with us.
Okay.
And you're presenting yourself as a person who's in solidarity with us, but you're doing stuff to us.
I'm not doing anything. He said
you're not
I'll
working
let him
with
speak for
us
himself.
necessarily. People are saying that they're feeling uncomfortable about being filmed
Okay.
without their consent.
Who told you
I'm
that
not
they
gonna
feel
name
uncomfortable?
names.
No, but you can just say did some people tell you here?
I'm telling you that people have told me that
Okay.
multiple times in multiple things, and that I keep hearing that.
Well, there's a bunch of events that happen all across the country and all around the world, and independent news broadcasters do this all the time.
So I hear you saying that we just better get used to it. That's your perspective. But you're saying you're here to support the group.
There's no laws against this.
But is it right? Just because you're not breaking the law, is it right?
How is it wrong? You're saying just because there's people that are uncomfortable. If they're uncomfortable, they can walk away. And if they want to come up to me, hey, can you make sure I'm not on the camera, I'm not being shown,
saying,
and then
by
then
default,
fine.
people should have to back you off and have to go through extra effort in order to back you off. But you could also, by default, ask people, hey, may I record you?
Are you part of DSA?
I'm not part of DSA. I'm independent.
Okay.
Why do you ask?
Are you
Why
an
do you ask?
independent? I want to know what organizations are here.
Why would you like to know? For what purpose?
For what? Just to know what organizations are coming out here to support, this
Uh-huh.
event that's happening.
Why would you like to know that? Like, tell me about what you do. What's your name?
My name is Franco from Frank Analysis. I do interviews, I do solo videos, I do panel discussions.
Frank Analysis.
Yep.
Cool. Is it FRANK?
FRANC.
Frank Analysis.
I used to watch his videos like a year ago.
So you say here in your video, after a series of photos with young protesters outside the Capitol, AOC did not have time for questions. I asked her why she is protesting for an extension of the eviction moratorium last minute when her and other progressive legislators knew for months this would happen. I mean, what's your angle here?
Angle here is that why didn't they make a move earlier? I mean, are these people actually fighting for us, or are they careerists? So let me pose that question to you. Do you think that they're actually fighting for us, or are they careerists?
Hold on, let me just look at your side a little more.
Okay.
So you're looking. You've got stuff on the squad that says the worst kind of enemy is one that pretends to be your friend.
I retweeted that. Yeah.
Yeah?
Was that sarcasm?
Okay.
Stardust? Shout out to Misty Winston.
Okay, so
It seems like
so you're hold on, I've got a phone call. One second.
Alrighty.
Hello? Hello? But okay, so you've got some kind of angle here. What's to say that you're not just a right-wing person trying to break up our movement?
Am I right wing?
Absolutely not.
He knows me. He's been following my show for a long time. He's been a guest. I'm not right wing.
Like, why don't you go after?
And if I was,
don't you go
why
after
would
the
it
Koch
matter?
brothers?
The Koch brothers?
Yeah,
Because
like
we know
That's
they're
ex-
shit. That's the thing.
yeah,
we
but
know
like,
they have market angle.
but you don't.
I call
think
them out.
you
I
don't
call
think-
out the
you don't
Koch
think-
brothers
you don't
all the
think- You
time.
don't think
I call out the Koch brothers. I call out Bill Gates. I call out Jeff Bezos. I call out Elon Musk. I call all those billionaire assholes out. The Rothschilds. You fuck all of them. Fuck all of them. Fuck all the ones that are buying off all our politicians. And if people like Cori Bush and AOC are going to be complicit in that, and AOC was transferring some of her money over to these corporate politicians who she's supposed to be fighting against, I'm going to be calling that out.
Well, wait. So are you saying that every politician should be purist?
Yeah, if there should be representing us.
But are you saying that like people shouldn't be working with each other?
We will be doing what we are doing here to pressure them, whoever is in office, to do the right thing.
But it sounds more like you're kind of damaging them than you're.
Not at all. They work for us. They work for us.
You're trying to damage them. It looks more like you're trying to.
No.
Cori
We
was
want.
an activist prior to being a congresswoman. AOC was an organizer in New York prior to being a congresswoman. They had the know-how that if they knew a month ago that this was happening, they had their email list and they could say, hey, we want to put pressure on our colleagues and our leadership to make sure that this doesn't happen. Please come out at such and such a time at such a place here. They didn't have to, why they're doing this now when there's right now, like 50 people right now? They could have had a lot more here if they acted on this back in late June, when we knew about this coming up this month.
That's a hypothetical. You don't.
How's it hypothetical?
Because like you don't. You're saying that, and you can say that like from a hypothetical perspective, but like the moving pieces of everything that's going together is not that simple.
All right, let's look. We voted for them. We put our blood, sweat, and tears so that they can represent us. If they're not doing as efficient of a job to help us, what should we do? If they're not listening to us, we're being nice to them, and if they're not listening to us, then what do we do?
Well, let me ask
Shouldn't
you this
we
question.
ask them why they're not
but like
doing as inefficient job to help us out?
Well, like, I think that we should all be focused on the goal of actually working on making sure that people don't get kicked out of their houses, which is what we're out here doing tonight.
Right, but the
Yeah.
question, and I asked that question, why did they wait till now to rally people when they could have done this a month ago?
That's
If I could answer this, I've been sleeping here, but in the interest of getting something shut eye, will you let me?
Sure.
Yeah, buddy, we can walk
we can
somewhere
move,
else so we
so-
can let this guy
sorry.
here rest in peace.
Because you go to leadership. Let's say it's a month before. Let's role play this out. You go to leadership. You say, listen, Eviction Moratorium, you know about it as much as I do. You put it in your Facebook months and months ago. You know, what are we doing about this expiry? They say, we're gonna extend this. You know, no problem. That's essentially the extent of that interaction. It gets closer. You go to them again. You say, all right, let's extend this. Turns out that, like, just days before, the understanding of leadership, the understanding of the people that were asking leadership about this was they had the votes. They had with their members, they had the votes. Democrats were united on this. Literally, like 3 days ago, we find out, and you can ask Representative Jim McGovern on the Rules Committee about this. If you're curious, you can ask AOC about this. We find out that there's actually a few Democrats who we still don't know who they are,
It was just verbal diarrhea, yeah. At a certain point,
saying
I was like,
we won't vote for
you're gonna
this.
criticize me.
And now suddenly they can't, because now if you bring it to the floor, it's going to fail, and once it fails, it's very difficult to bring it back up for another vote immediately. It's like that's, you get one and done. So they can't bring it to the floor. So a few Democrats, a few moderates, and unfortunately we don't know who they are, have gone to leadership and said, if you bring this to the floor, we're voting no on this. We're worried about our re-election. We don't think this is a good idea.
But do you think Squad would have an idea of who their colleagues are that will vote against it?
I wish. I've asked around. I've asked, like, hey, do we know who these are? And my understanding is no. The members that have come here have said, no, we haven't been told who these members are. We are just as in the dark as you are. We don't know who these members are.
Okay,
I
so-
wish that leadership would name names.
Okay, so what about the leadership themselves, like Nancy Pelosi?
Yeah, I wish that if she's been told by members in person, you know, I'm whatever congressman from wherever, and I won't vote for this. I wish Nancy Pelosi would name names and at least make them go on the record. Like, listen, if you think you have to take a position in order to save your reelection, fine. But, you know, man up, take it. Go out in public and say, this is my position, and let people disagree with you, rather than like sending some sort of anonymous communique saying, hey, if you bring this to the floor, you won't have the votes. Because, like, if it's to serve some sort of political interest, you have to go out in public and say it. So I wish that, you know, I don't know if they told Nancy Pelosi their names. I don't know if they sent this anonymously. But the understanding of leadership, for whatever reason, is that if they bring this to the floor, it will not get 218 votes. It'll get, like, no Republicans. And there's some Democrats who are saying they won't vote for it. And that means it's just too
So that brings me back to what I was saying earlier as far as, so then if they are aware, the Squad is aware that they're not, if they have the suspicion that they're not going to get the votes, then that's when they have to rally us as their constituents to
And
kind
for
of
the
push
past
that.
3, I've been here 3 days.
Okay, I
And
get
that's what
that.
they've been
I
Respect,
totally
bro,
get that. I
respect.
respect that.
Yeah.
But that's what we're saying. We knew about this. It was reported that this was going to go down, at least in mainstream media, at least in late June.
They thought
So-
they had the votes in late June. They thought they had the votes. They thought that all the members, and days ago we found out actually some members have defected. They're not voting, and we still don't know who they are. And that sucks shit. I know. I'm with you. I wish we knew who they were so we could pressure them directly. I have my suspicions, but like I can't name names because I don't know who they are. That's just my best guess based on what I know about Congress. But you know, without knowing who they are, all we can do is be here and pressure Congress writ large to pass this. And when we finally find out who these moderates are that are threatening to withhold their votes when it comes to the floor. I mean, you heard Jim McGovern. He's chair of the Rules Committee. He was saying that nanosecond we hear that we have the votes. we're working behind the scenes. We're trying to figure out who these people are and try and get them to a place where they can vote for this. The nanosecond they have the votes, he's going to convene the rules committee. They're going to put this bill on the floor and they're going to pass it no matter how. But until we get those votes, if we bring this to the floor and it doesn't pass, all of this whole.
Here's the thing. The pandemic has been going on for a long time, right? People weren't able to go to their jobs. A lot of people lost their jobs. So people couldn't pay rent. This is gonna extend until now. This could have been foreseen. And there's been several stimulus bills. These are legislators. Why didn't they make any revisions to the bills or push for any revisions to the bills to extend any eviction moratoriums until people are able to pay for it?
Yeah, why couldn't at least the squad at minimum make this within the CARES Act as far as providing that
Or the
extension?
HEROES Act.
If you bring that
This
up in
was
those
back in
bills-
March.
If you bring that up in those bills, then those same members basically say we're threatening to tank the CARES Act. At that point, you have to go, am I willing to tank the CARES Act? Like, am
It's
I
a
willing-
Absolutely,
bill.
absolutely.
It's
Because
a
and you say I
must-pass
will
bill.
not do it because of this. People will be evicted months from now.
Yeah. The ultimate
And it's a
controversy
must-pass bill.
is do we address the evictions thing when we can make it a standalone? And if so, when the CARES Act comes through, when Nancy Pelosi dares you to vote no on the CARES Act, are you willing to put your name down as I am the member who killed the CARES Act? The ultimate answer to that
No,
is
you
the bill
killed,
was
but
supported
the
by 80%
context is important though. The context, and you don't think people will stand behind them, all their followers that they
You
have?
wouldn't stand behind the squad if they made that stand.
It's not
You're
about
doing
me.
it right now.
Look, dude, I'm a dude who follows congressional politics. 95% of Americans are not digging into the roll call. They're hearing on the national news AOC.
And then
voted
that's
against
when
the
we
CARES Act.
inform them.
I'm sorry. The idea that independent media is going to give everyone
Well, we have to. It'll go down in history. At least they had. At least they had integrity.
My point.
At least
look,
they had
My
the
point
truth
is not
with
about
them.
my point is not about integrity because I can't eat integrity. I can't live in integrity. I can't drink.
When has incrementalism worked?
When it passed the CARES Act, which for better or for worse was better than not.
And now
passing the
look
CARES
what's
Act.
happening here.
And now we gotta
Look what's
fight
happening.
And now we got to fight to keep the eviction moratorium. Yeah, we have to fight every single time, and it fucking sucks. But the alternative is.
But you
not
see how it
fighting
could have been
every single-
prevented and how they
But
can
that
rally
doesn't
people.
prevent it. That
But
doesn't-
look at how they could have rallied people. Look at all these people that follow them on Twitter and stuff. That they could have organized stuff. They could have
There's
organized
some
direct
grass over
action.
there. Go touch it. Touch some fucking grass, my dude.
Why are you telling me to
you're
touch grass?
You're like they have so many followers on Twitter. That's not how you. pass a
Yeah.
bill.
But how did you get here?
Pass the bill, but that's how you
It's not how we pass the law.
Okay,
That's how we pressure people.
Better yet, they have that email list, right?
Yeah, I
They
told you.
could, if they can easily ask you for donations for their campaigns, they can easily send an email to you saying, this is an issue that is very important to us, and we need you here at whatever time and place to kind of say, hey, we need your help to help push, make the mark that we need our politicians to kind of say that.
You do that and you hold up the CARES Act. The story becomes these representatives.
Who cares? The mainstream media smears these people all the time anyway.
It's not just about the mainstream media. Whether the mainstream media is telling the truth or not does affect the perceptions of these Americans. If you can go and
That didn't stop
You know
Bernie
what?
Sanders from running
Joe
on Medicare
Manchin?
for all.
I'm not talking about Medicare for all.
No, I'm saying you're saying the mainstream media is going to spin it to make it look like a bad thing. That didn't stop people from running for offices for things that they believed in, even though it went against what corporations wanted.
The efficacy of media spin is determined by people's actual behavior. If the majority of Americans see beyond the sake of the media spin, representatives are holding up the CARES Act to try and put eviction moratorium in. The reaction of most Americans is, I want my fucking CARES Act. Why are you talking about something 3 months from now?
Because we can't do because people will end up homeless. Because there's a lot of things in the CARE Act that are not going to actually help people.
That doesn't politically work. You're not going to get people. I'm sorry.
Just because you say it doesn't mean that that doesn't make it true.
This is a remarkably enlightened view of the average American voter. But I'm sorry, the average American.
Well,
voter,
we gotta raise the consciousness of the American people.
Yeah, and in the process, best of luck to that. But in the process, we are working with an American public that will
In the process, they're caring more about their career than about actually helping people.
What you're doing is saying, I want the American people.
They're afraid of losing their job.
We've gone through a year of Americans losing their shit over being asked to wear a mask. And you're expecting people to say, I'd like to postpone getting benefits for months and months because 3 months from now, we might have to deal with another issue of the eviction moratorium.
Absolutely. It's a huge problem, which is why you're here, right?
American voter.
So what? So what?
So my
Their
point-
incrementalism is clearly not working, and things get worse and worse every freaking year.
my point-
Every year.
My point is that if you stake your movement on that, you are going to have no political capital to actually do
Then that
stuff.
should motivate more direct action.
Direct action doesn't create political capital. Direct action spends
Then why are we-
political capital. You build political capital and you spend it on doing direct action. If you're doing a direct action and most Americans don't support you, then a politician can brush you off. They can say, fuck you don't represent most Americans. But if you build political consensus by doing things in the moment
We
you
don't
actually want,
represent
then
most
once-
Americans. Look, most Americans are losing their houses.
Wait, okay, that's
They're inundated with that.
That's statistically off. We're not here talking about most Americans. We're talking about like 11 million Americans, which is a big deal. But like there are 330 million.
You know what I meant. There's a large portion of the country that are going to be losing their houses. They're inundated with debt.
If you mean the majority, like statistically, that's just not true. It's a lot, and that's a big deal. But I just want to be clear about the numbers that we're talking about. My point is, you build political consensus. You get most Americans on board with you. You talk about things they broadly like, and then when most Americans are behind you, when you need to exert pressure, at a critical time when we suddenly
I
find
think
out we don't
most
have-
Americans would want not to lose the house.
and most Americans won't lose it, and most Americans won't lose their house.
All right, so screw all the ones that are going to lose it.
It's not about the moral sentiment that people are going to lose it. It's about building political
All right,
capital.
it sounds like you're speaking from a point of privilege.
I'm speaking from the point of like.
Let me have you? All right.
Is irrelevant. Whether I was the president of the United States or whether I was born
But you
in
don't.
Boston,
It seems like you don't understand the urgency that people feel.
How people feel is relevant.
You don't feel. It seems like you don't understand the urgency of people that have when they're losing their jobs, when they're inundated with that.
Yeah. My degree of personal understanding about people's emotions is irrelevant to the accuracy of the statements I'm making. It's a non sequitur. I could be blind.
But what the strategy you're proposing is counterproductive because incrementalism has never worked.
The strategy I'm proposing is doing things that most Americans support so that when you make a big ask, when you say, listen, I've done this thing you support, I've done this other thing you support, I voted for the CARES Act, I've put in my time, I've put in my votes, now I'm asking you to come out for me, and now you get people out here. That's how you do that. That's how you build a movement.
Well, clearly there's not enough people out here.
And we're getting more. There's hundreds and hundreds of people coming out from Holy Book and talking about how
At the last minute,
yes, very often.
why
it's at the
why
last
didn't
minute.
they could have done this a long time ago, like I said.
Because if you do this a long time ago, then most Americans aren't behind you because they see you.
Oh, absolutely, they would. The message would get out. They'll still be able to.
So then, so explain the marches last year. Explain that last time.
Which one?
George Floyd.
Yeah, George Floyd was shot, and that was a highly urgent situation.
Have a good night, guys.
So
Good night,
isn't
take
this a
care.
highly urgent situation too?
And we're trying to bring people out. You're making my point. I agree with you. There was a proximate event that spurred a lot of action. And would it have been better if people had been continuously before George Floyd was murdered, not shot, I apologize, before he was murdered by Derek Chauvin, if people had been continuously marching saying, we know something like this will happen in the future, and so preemptively we're getting here to do something. Yes, that would be the best of all possible worlds. But people, are only human, and they don't seem to act like that. People react to proximate events. They see someone get killed on TV,
how can we get more people to come out for this?
You've got a camera there. Please ask people. I'm appealing
Absolutely.
to anyone who's
Doing that right now.
Please come out. We're on the Capitol steps right now. I can see the Supreme
Hell yeah.
Court. I can see the library. I can see the Capitol Rotunda right here. It's beautiful, but it's more beautiful when you're here. Because
Yeah.
the more people are here fighting to make sure that we renew the moratorium on evictions, that we keep people in their homes. I mean, I've heard numbers ranging from 7 million, 8 million, 9 million, 10, 11 million. When we fight to save those people, most of whom I've never met, most of whom you're never going to meet, their lives still matter. If you come out here, whoever you are, on the internet, you know, whoever.
Yeah, we have 122 people watching right now.
Yeah, all 100 of you, if you have the means, and I live in DC, so it's easier for me, but if you have the means, please come out here.
Or organize events in your area.
Yeah, call your senators, especially your senators, also your members of Congress in the House, but especially your senators, because the Senate is still in session. And we have the House on 24 hours notice that if the Senate passes this moratorium, then we can have a House vote on this in the next 24 hours to get this done. Because the House leadership has adjourned on 24 hours notice that if the Senate passes this moratorium, if they pass the infrastructure bill, if there's movement on that, we can have the House, back in session in 24 hours to vote on anything the Senate has passed, whether that's the homelessness issue or the infrastructure bill. If we can get this through the Senate, then we need votes in the House. Call your elected officials. Call anyone you know who's influential to your elected officials. I've been out here for 3 days. I want to
Respect
go home.
for that. Respect
I want
for
to go
that.
home so bad. I want to sleep in my motherfucking bed.
Yeah.
But we're not leaving. I'm hoarse. I'm sorry. We're not leaving until this gets done.
Respect.
And please help me go home. Please help all of us go home.
And help the homeless people find a home too.
Yeah, I live near the 20th and E encampment, right across from the Federal Reserve, and there's a national goddamn embarrassment that across from the fiscal or the monetary capital of the United States, where the biggest decisions about our economy get made, there are people sleeping in tents and dying of exposure because housing in DC cannot become affordable. That is an embarrassment. And I know there are homeless, wherever you are, there are homeless people near you. There are people sleeping in their cars near you. There are people who are at risk of becoming homeless near you. There's all of that, way closer than you might ever believe.
Yeah.
And I want you to, no matter if you know them or not, please care enough about them to call your members and come if you can and do something about this, because we don't want them to become homeless and we don't want them to die.
Well said. Yeah, I would say protest outside of your senator's house or wherever you can. Get out to the streets, guys. It's really urgent. I just want to ask, where did you learn all this information from? Where do you usually find these talking points that you got?
So for the information about the number of homeless people, I've been listening to Cori Bush, and she has housing stats.
Oh no, I mean for the strategies that you were proposing.
Yeah,
and your thoughts on what Congress is doing.
Yeah, I have a bachelor's of arts in political science from the George Washington University. It's mostly books on the history of congressional politics, a lot of stuff about the civil rights movement.
Okay.
Reading books like Unequal Democracy.
So mainly from academia and books.
Yeah, also from doing activism. I helped get my member of Congress, Mondale Jones from New York. I helped get him elected in this most recent cycle. I was doing, previous to this, we led a Medicare for All march on Nina Lowy's office, but she was a representative of the same district. We were a reporter in a district office, and days before the march, the day before the march, she came out and co-sponsored Medicare for All. And we can't know, but we think it's because she saw that we were planning to march on her office.
Yeah.
And it turned into a celebration where instead we marched to come thank her for co-sponsoring the bill.
I have a question. Did you know there was a march in Medicare for All last week?
Yeah, I heard about it. I heard about that online. And my understanding is that like marching and stuff is nice. It's got to be paired with some sort of enduring action. And if that got more people to call their legislators to like let them know like I'm staking my vote on this, I'm staking my donations on this, I'm going to like help recruit candidates to run against you if you don't co-sponsor this. If it created like real political pressure on the representatives in these particular areas, this is dependent for my electoral success. Then if that's what comes of it, then I would be very happy.
I will say you said you educated yourself on all this mainly through academia, right? I will say don't just limit yourself there, because a lot of these corporations lobby politicians so that the information that's delivered through academia is limited.
Well, I'm not. So my university is not publicly. We're a privately run.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I would say don't just limit yourself there.
Look, my point is not just about like academia, because I realize that academia.
Oh no, I know it's not about academia. I'm just saying don't just limit yourself to just informing yourself within academia or within like legacy media. You gotta expand and diversify, because those are usually endorsed by the corporations.
Here's my problem. As much as I appreciate you guys being here, having watched the growth of alternative media, I've noticed that I see alternative media like it was a lot like how in the early 90s and the early 2000s the internet was seen as this like radical experiment in democratic communication and mass connectivity, and over time we saw the internet fall into these same pitfalls as previous systems of mass communication. And I worry that I see a lot of alternative media doing the same thing. Like Alex Jones is alternative media. Jimmy fucking Dore is alternative media. Like people who run the Daily Wire.
Hang on, Alex Jones is a shady guy, and his points are easily debunkable. What's your problem with Jimmy Dore?
God, how much time do you have? But
We have all the time in the world.
A lot of If you want, we can stand up, or you want to stay sitting down. We can change positions.
I'll
So
stay seated. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. Yeah. No. The stuff about the Medicare for All march.
Here, let me get a little closer.
The stuff about forced to vote. My general feeling with, and this is not like all left alternative media. There's left alternative media I like. I have a lot of respect for people like Kyle Kalinske. I have a lot of respect for them. Some of the commentators, not all, but some of the commentators on the Young Turks, I have a lot of respect for them. Some of the problems I have with going left alternative media is feeling like, and it's true of a lot of left activism, is being so accustomed to being out of power that you don't know what to do with it once you have it. And it's like the left it positions itself in opposition, that it's the activists holding the signs outside Congress, and it's what we're doing right now. But it means that when you have power, when you're finally given that infinity stone, you don't know what to do with it. And it means that, like, we have members of Congress here, and we have an entire faction to the left that are devoted to screaming at our own members of Congress, not understanding how Congress fuck their words. And we had someone here days ago, a guy named Nick Brana from the People's Party, who was like arguing with Ilhan Omar and Cori Bush and Diana Pressley.
I have my own issues with Nick Brana, but I don't know if it's for the same reasons that you have. But we don't have to get into that.
My point is that you have cadres of people very heavily online, very heavily into some alt media, that I think push people to not understand how wielding power from an inside and outside strategy works. To say, when you are outside the halls of power like I am, there are certain things you can do. And when you are inside the halls of power, there are other equally necessary things that you can do.
Okay.
And these are different, we all have our place in the movement, but these are different responsibilities. And to say everyone should be the activist is not understanding how dual power works. just not understanding how movement power works. That not everyone holds signs. Some people hold signs. Some people maneuver inside Congress. Some people knock on doors to get other people elected to Congress. Some people buy us food. They don't even have to be here. By the way, if you send food, you're like the greatest. You're the greatest of all time if you send food.
If she should have taken it,
She should have taken
should've
it.
went
Everyone
there.
has a place,
Right.
but they're not all the same place. You expect everyone to do the same thing and say, well, why aren't you doing the same thing I am?
Oh man, we
Just
had
ends up pushing people out and making us less effective. And that's some of my frustration. Some of where I see all media pushing people out.
Okay, so your problems are with how some don't understand how Congress works.
They don't
And-
understand the diversity of tactics.
Amen.
Okay, where did you learn that
One
from?
person that
Where's
should
that
have
from?
That they don't understand how Congress works? Is it from listening to them or listening to other people criticizing them?
Mostly from listening to them. Mostly from, granted, it's anecdotal evidence, it's never the best evidence.
Okay, so
but
what is, for example, Jimmy Dore not understand about how Congress works?
I'll give you an example, like with forced to vote. It was a perfect encapsulation.
Okay.
Where forced to vote is a different issue, and so I don't, we're here to talk about homelessness.
Which they also could have withheld their vote to extend the evictions, but
Yeah. On the issue of like the forced to vote over the speaker election, it felt like if we ran through the argument chain, eventually we reached, well, you should do a floor vote, because then even if Medicare for All doesn't pass, it gets people on the roll call saying whether they support it or not. And that has political value because it allows for targeting the primary campaigns. And there were like two primary problems I never heard addressed, because they both came down to fundamental misunderstandings about how Congress works. One is, when you do like a whip count, and you know extremely well how many votes you're going to get on the bill before it even comes to the floor, you do the whip count. Let's say you get 208 votes, you're 10 short. What that means is you know with mathematical certainty that bill's not going to pass. Unless like suddenly 10 members actually lied to you about their position on the matter. That bill's not going to pass. What that means is that, let's say you're a member of Congress who like personally doesn't like Medicare for all, but you're from a left-wing district and you're worried about re-election, and you want to cover your ass. What you do is say, I'll be the 209th vote in favor. And you know what? That vote doesn't matter because you aren't the marginal vote that passed it. So you can look good in front of your constituents.
so that's for the floor vote, right? All right.
Yeah, that would be like the floor vote. The point is that pressuring to do a floor vote only reveals.
Public opinion, I think, changed.
My point was only that pressuring to reveal people's preferences only works if they think they are the marginal vote that actually decides the issue.
You don't mind if we walk over because it's getting a little loud?
Sure.
Yeah.
If someone knows that they are not the marginal vote on the matter, then the only thing they have to think about is messaging. It's what will my constituents think? What will my donors think? What message will I be sending with my vote? If you're not the 218th vote that decides whether something lives or dies, and you know that because they've done the whip, then all you really need to think about is what will help me get reelected. And at that point, it doesn't reveal a true preference. It just reveals what you want to do to cover your own ass. Maybe you're someone who doesn't support Medicare for all if it comes to push comes to shove, but you're willing to look good in front of your constituents. So since it wouldn't pass, since it would have gotten like 150 votes, there could have been some wolves in sheep's clothing that say, oh yeah, sure, I'll vote for it because I know it won't pass. But when it actually becomes push comes to shove, I'm not going to do it. It was the same way with the Republicans, like with repealing Obamacare.
But wouldn't it be revealing if they don't actually vote for it, like when it's the actual thing?
That would be revealing, but ultimately, like that requires Americans to have an attention span of years and years and years. Remember, 3 years ago, you flipped your vote on this. They can always say, oh, well, I had a change of heart. Oh, well, times were different. Oh, well, something.
In the middle of a pandemic, though, they didn't want to vote for single-payer health care.
Yeah.
That would signal a lot.
If they can say, oh, we were during the pandemic,
and there would be massive pressure. There's supposed to be massive pressure from, because it doesn't just stop there with just getting the floor vote. The supposed progressive politicians are supposed to be spreading the word, telling people to put pressure on their congresspeople and senators.
And they have been for months and months and months.
I know, but I'm talking about like for any issue.
Yeah, you tell people.
Like here they just did this like for like last minute. With the March for Medicare for All, they were completely silent, all of them.
The reason that this was done last minute is because it was at the figurative last minute that we found out we didn't have the votes. The understanding from the House.
Oh no, we just went over how they knew evictions would have happened. But whatever, we'll go down. That's going down that rabbit hole we went in last time.
Yeah.
All right, but the thing, what was being proposed with force to vote is so that we could at least get a speaker that would put it for a floor vote, right? You understand that part?
My point is that the utility of a floor vote is predicated on the idea that it reveals people's policy preferences on Medicare for all. And my point is that it does not do that because most congressional votes by all but the marginal member are acts of messaging and not acts of policy preferences. So for example, with the Republicans with ACA repeal, you know how before the Republicans actually had a trifecta, they tried to repeal Obamacare like 60-something times, and every time it passed and then Obama vetoed it, and Obama vetoed it over and over and over again. And that was just how things were. And then finally, the Republicans had the power, and suddenly a bunch of Republicans, thankfully, like obviously, got very shy about actually following through on their previous votes. All suddenly, their fervor wasn't there anymore because they knew it might actually happen, and they knew they would suffer politically if they actually repealed it. They knew there would be a blowback.
And it was also approved by Big Pharma. Like a lot of pharmaceutical companies and Wall Street approved of Obamacare. So
my point is just that they voted to repeal it over and over again when they knew that it didn't have actual consequences. And then when push came to shove, their preferences suddenly shifted because they were very politically nervous about the impacts of repealing the Affordable Care Act and putting that shit in place. And look, I'm glad that they had a change of heart for whatever reason, whether it was political pressure or anything else. But the point is just that it's the difference between when you can vote knowing there's no consequences to it, and when you can vote knowing that your vote will actually cause it to become law. People's preferences can very suddenly switch between enacting a policy they want to enact and enacting a policy they think will help get them elected.
Why should it stop them if there's going to be people that won't be taking it seriously? Why should it stop them if there's going to be people that won't take it seriously? Like you're saying that some people will just do it just for optics, and then when it actually matters, why does that really matter?
Because the idea of forcing the vote was that it will force members to reveal their genuine preferences, and that members that don't vote for it, we can go in primary. That was the strategy.
But what's wrong with exposing that?
The point is that it doesn't expose them because it allows them to vote yes when it doesn't matter. Make them vote yes.
Well, good. It's good that they vote yes when it matters.
When we have, 215, 216, when we're doing the whip and we suddenly get to 218, then make them make good on their promise. But until then, asking them to vote yes on a bill when it'll get 150 votes and then die just means that they get to vote yes without any consequences, and they get to look good in front of their constituents when they might.
So at least they voted yes. Why is that a problem?
Because you want them to vote yes when it will matter. Because the point of a Medicare for all vote is not to.
Well, at least they still voted yes.
But how many people got health care because they voted yes? Nil. It only matters when it passes.
So, at least they stood back. Then the ones that voted against it will be shown. They'll be exposed.
The ones who vote against it in that case are voting against it because they live in districts.
We go after the 150.
And my point is, there are districts where somehow you have Democrats. I promise you, I wish that every Democrat in the country was a Medicare.
And if it goes yes, then it goes to the Senate.
And my point is, let's say you go to Joe Manchin and you say, like, hey, Joe Manchin, why didn't you vote for Medicare for all? And he says, well, because I'm from West Virginia. Okay, anyone from West Virginia, I promise you, I can't do a good West Virginia accent. He says, well, I'm from West Virginia, and folks in West Virginia don't love socialist medicine. And then, you know what? He actually does. I hate to say it, but there are places in this country where voting no on Medicare for all helps you get elected. And in those places, a bunch of, socialists like me going and begging people to pressure their senator, not as effective. There are places where it works. There are places where it doesn't work. And the big shift has to be you have to get to a critical mass where you can get 218 members who either have that fire in their belly or feel
you're speaking on hypotheticals here. It won't work in this area. So?
I'm speaking about what has to be done. And yes,
The majority of the country wants wants universal health care
The
now.
majority, you need the
It's
majority.
an overwhelming majority of
You
the
need the
people. If
majority
people
and a
aren't
majority
voting
of
for
congressional
universal health
districts.
care, then those people are not representing
Unfortunately-
their constituents.
Unfortunately, our democracy
And
is not
if they're not
very
actually representing them, then
average
that should trigger people to perform direct
voter.
action.
Unfortunately, our democracy is not set up to be representative of the average voter, because you don't just need a majority of Americans across the country, you need large enough majorities in a majority of congressional districts that enough members feel like their hide is on the line if they don't vote for it. You need 200 and something, 218 districts where members feel like if they don't vote for this, their ass is on the line in the next election.
Look, if they vote against it, that's why you go after them, you scare the shit out of them, and you protest and apply maximum
And
pressure.
that
The
only
majority of the
works if
country
you-
wants it.
It's not just because
That's a lame excuse, like what you're giving, just because some people won't take it seriously. What? So what?
I think if you
They're
go to-
voting yes.
If you go to Abigail
And
Spanberger and you say, well, the majority of Americans support Medicare for all, she says, well, look, I don't represent all Americans. I represent suburban Virginia. Talk to my constituents.
All right,
That's
this is
what you have to do.
this is all. You know, these talking points are exactly what Sam Cedar was saying. And then you don't know who that is?
I don't know the relevance of Sam Cedar to this situation.
It's exactly what he was saying. It's exactly what he was saying. He's like, oh, Jimmy Dore doesn't understand how Congress works.
Sounds like a smart guy. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, he got wrecked by people who actually do understand Congress and actually understand
He got
direct
ratioed
action.
on-
He got
ratioed on
destroyed by Breonna Joy Gray.
Oh no, he got ratioed on Twitter.
No, not on Twitter. He got destroyed by Breonna Joy Gray.
I'm sorry.
in-
Look,
in a debate.
I appreciate the work that Breonna Joy Gray did for Bernie, but I'm sorry she was wrong about that. As it happens, it turns out that Noam Chomsky was right about.
No, Chomsky was wrong because he doesn't understand the urgency of what people want because he's out of touch.
The degree of urgency is irrelevant to the ability.
He
to
compared it
pass
to people wanting ice cream. He compared people dying from diseases and being inundated with that with people wanting ice cream when they wanted health care.
In terms of the degree of political efficacy in getting something through Congress, the degree of people's personal desperation doesn't with votes. And it sucks that it doesn't. I wish that members of Congress were good-hearted people that cared when they saw someone dying and cared more. They cared more about that than about someone wanting ice cream. But I'm sorry, to most members of Congress, and it sucks shit that this is the case.
Then get them out and expose them.
And the problem
It
is
should be
that-
power to the people, not be apologetic to the Congress people.
I said it sucks shit, my dude. These people are not good people.
Well
Most
then,
members of
well
Congress
then,
are
fuck
good.
them.
And we're trying to get. And look, I replaced. my
Expose
members of-
them. Tell
That's
your
what I did in my
community.
own district. We got our member of Congress to resign prematurely because she didn't want to go through a primary and potentially lose her seat. So she retired, and we got a progressive, a solid progressive vote in her place, who's been lobbying for Medicare for all, who's been lobbying to end the eviction moratorium, who's been lobbying for like getting us out of foreign wars consistently. I did that job in the only district where I can vote as a citizen of the United States, and more people need to do that in their districts. But I'm sorry, forcing to vote on Medicare for all doesn't reveal those members. All it reveals is
Who cares? It's about pressuring Congress.
Because it
It's about the
doesn't
people. It's about the
because
working
it
class
doesn't
people
cause-
pressuring
because-
Congress.
Because if you, let's say you're a member of Congress from like a conservative district, how does forcing to vote put pressure on you? Why do you
From
feel
where? A
compelled to?
conservative district?
Let's say you're a
All
Democrat.
right, so what? The majority of the country, even a lot of conservatives, want universal health care.
Do they want it enough to not vote for their Republicans? Because ultimately, it's not just about whether a member, it's not just about whether your constituent says they want something, it's about whether they're willing to vote
It doesn't
against
matter. We keep pressuring it until they
What
do
does
it.
What does the word pressure mean? Does pressure mean
Getting
like,
out like this, like exactly what you're doing
the
here
reason
today.
the reason that this pressures politicians is because you have enough Americans that are willing to stake their votes on the issue of creating millions and millions of homelessness.
But it doesn't matter who is in office. It doesn't matter who it is. We will pressure whoever is there.
And my point is that in terms of getting the votes, we can.
And
see
you're
the
aware
best
that
ways.
the
It
force to
matters
vote was
so
from
much.
the DSA handbook, right? It was in their handbook about withholding their vote.
I am a card-carrying member of the DSA.
Okay.
Personally, I did not agree with that tactic. And there are people in DSA that agree with it, and we vote democratically at the National Convention, and we send delegates, and sometimes we're going to disagree. And I happen to disagree with my comrades who put that in the DSA handbook about, this is how you apply political pressure. I don't think that would have worked.
All right, do you personally have health care?
Yeah, I have healthcare through my parents. I'm 21, so.
All right, so you clearly don't understand the urgency that a lot of Americans feel
This
who
is
don't.
not about my.
No, you just don't understand the situation then. You're not able to place yourself in other people's shoes and feel that urgency.
I reject the idea that it is impossible to care about people. For example, like you are not black, for example, but I
Okay.
believe that you care about Black Lives Matter. I believe in your heart that you do. I believe that I do. I believe that I would guess I would put money on every single white and Hispanic person here cares about Black Lives Matter, even if they're not in that position themselves, because I believe in radical empathy.
It doesn't mean that you went through all their experiences.
And it doesn't. But I don't. The whole point of empathy is being able to empathize with things you haven't gone through yourself. Otherwise, that's just sympathy.
Then that's why
Sympathy
you
is
don't
when you're
understand the
gone.
urgency then.
I reject the idea that people are incapable of empathy. If I thought like you that people were incapable of empathy, I would be much more cynical about politics. I would be much more cynical about the possibility of ever getting anything done, because most Americans do not suffer from most issues
Bro, you're just-
that we have to confront in politics. So the whole point is getting them to care about stuff that they haven't gone through. That's most of politics. Most people.
If you didn't have health care right now, would you be saying the same exact same thing you're saying right now?
If I didn't have
And you had a
healthcare
disease
right-
and you can't treat it because you can't afford to treat it.
then I would hope to God that we did everything we could to most effectively get Medicare for all in place right now. And my understanding of the issues would
And
be
how
that
would
what
you do
you're
that?
proposing would not be the most effective way to do that. It would be counterproductive to my immediate.
It's counterproductive to just be nice to politicians and not get them to and get them and then vote for vote for speakers that won't even put it for a floor vote. That's completely counterproductive.
Putting it for a floor vote when it won't pass isn't.
You're saying it's just because there's going to be some people that'll vote for it when it won't matter. Who the fuck cares? At least they're voting for it.
Because what does that do? And then what happens?
That they're on the
And then
right
what happens?
side.
And then what happens? Do people get health care? No. They just get to pretend that they were on the right
It's
side.
a step in the right direction.
No, it's not. What step? How
If they're
how-
pretending, guess what? They're pretending the right way, but
Game
for
this out. What's
they're
your
doing
game
the
plan?
right thing for the wrong reasons. If they're pretending.
No, game this out consequentially. What happens after the vote fails? What do you do next?
If the vote fails, then we continue to pressure them. What are we doing here? We're still trying to pressure them with the Marches for
what do you do
Medicare for all.
next? And what do you do after
Keep
that? And then
pressuring.
what do you do after that?
Keep pressuring. That's
And
what
then-
that's what
and
we'll
then
keep
what do you-
doing.
And then how do you determine that will get us to 218 members?
By telling them we're not going to vote for you, or you're going to lose your job.
They already know that.
All right.
You've already told them that. You've played that card.
Then keep exposing them to people. Things are going to keep getting worse and worse and worse, and then people that aren't feeling the urgency now are going to feel it pretty soon.
Dude, this is not. If you look historically at like big bills in this country, that have like
They didn't pass
transformed
the New Deal because people were being nice to politicians. It's because
I'm not
Franklin
talking
Delano
about
Roosevelt
niceness.
was scared shitless
I'm not
by
talking
people who
about-
were protesting.
I'm not talking about niceness.
And there was a point in which only one person in Congress supported the right for women to vote.
I believe you. Their name escapes me. They were from Montana. The woman
It
from
took
Montana.
one politician.
My point is, Jesus Christ. I mean, there were many members of Congress, because there were like 30-something states that had passed women's suffrage before Congress did it themselves. Many members from those states supported women's suffrage. They were from states where women could already vote on a state-by-state level. Women's suffrage is not the point, though. If you look at things like the Voting Rights Act, or you look at things like the Civil Rights Act of '64, or you look at things like passing even Obamacare, which problems with it is better than the Bush era system. If you look at basically every big bill that has skated by contentiously in this country, it didn't get by just on people being angry in the streets. That was important as hell. but that was one of a diversity of tactics. And if you're out, like you're in the ether on the internet.
The thing is, we have to do the thing is like, look, here's one thing I will agree with you. Let me say something. Here's what I agree with you. Going out into the street like this, like applying pressure, because I was a little vague on that. That's not enough either, because we also have to be attacking the corporations directly with our pockets, which is to not give those corporations our money. And so people have to also be opting out of the system and informing people in their community about how corporations are the problem. So it can't just be direct action, like people on the ground, like that's fine, but then that's limited, right? Because what if we're out here and they're still not listening? Then that's when we all agree to not buy from Amazon, to not buy from Target, to not buy from all these other corporations.
There's a few folks over there from the Amazon Workers Union.
Okay.
I empathize with that point about like if you want to pressure corporate entities, stand up for people like that that are fighting for a union at their Amazon warehouse. You do have to like put your you have to put your money where your mouth is, essentially.
You gotta do some sacrifices, and then organize with your community to have some alternatives, like encourage people in your community to grow their own food, and you guys can trade food with each other. You know, some people in your neighborhood can grow a certain type of food, another part can grow another type of food.
If there's one thing I can say about like what you were right about, you talked about like talking to members of your fellow community.
Yeah.
And I could not agree more that if we are going to end up pressuring enough members, even if they don't believe it, to think that we can get a majority for Medicare for all through political pressure and fear for members losing their jobs, because some members will be good enough that they support it because they support it in their hearts.
Yeah.
And some members will just support it for political pressure. Whatever we can do to get over that 50% plus one line, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Once we
And
can get a
here's the
majority.
thing too, though.
But my point about it is, if you're talking to your neighbors, if you're talking to people in your congressional district, talk to them about how necessary that is. So it's not just you calling your member of Congress, it's all of them calling their members too. If we're going to get to a majority through public pressure, that's how it's going to happen.
Here's the thing too, though. And this is why I've been saying it doesn't matter who's in office, and it's because our elections are privately owned, and they do everything they can from preventing like progressives from winning. And when they do win, they often sell out and do a lot to secure their position in their career, rather than making it like what AOC said about bringing the ruckus. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a one-term congressperson, as long as you're doing the right thing, it doesn't matter.
My point is, that sort of like cynicism, sometimes I feel cynical like that, and I get sometimes people feel cynical like that, and it's cathartic. It's cathartic to say, fuck this shit, I've been out here 3 days, I haven't
not at all if you're able to rally people behind you.
It's catharsis to say, well, god damn it, the system's so rigged that nothing I can do is gonna unrig this system, because they've bought out all the members, and even when we win, we don't.
There is a way. We just have to organize better and do the things that I was just mentioning, like direct action, agreeing to opt out of the system, not give the corporations any more power.
My point is that's cathartic. It's cathartic.
Inform people about how our elections are privately owned, because then people won't be putting so much hope, wasting so much time on politicians that aren't going to fight for you.
We see how much elections can matter, because you know what? You know why we're out here? Because a handful of moderates, a handful, was enough to kill the ability of the Rules Committee under Jim McGovern to pass this eviction moratorium and put it on the floor for a vote. A handful of members. Maxine Waters was talking about this. Jim McGovern was talking about this. AOC was talking about this. That was the margin. They only needed 5 or 6 members. 5, 6, 7. We don't know exactly how many, but just a smidge of the Democratic caucus, along with every single Republican, was able to kill the thing.
And that's always going to be the case.
That's why elections matter.
No, that's always going to be the case. That's always going to be. There's always going to be. Oh, there's a margin of people. And that's because they're not feeling the heat. They're not feeling pressure from people.
But you know what would have fixed it? You know what would have fixed it?
What, having a whole bunch of progressives? We don't have time for that. And then a whole bunch of them are going to be making excuses for why they can't do certain things
I'll give an example.
in Congress.
Corrupt as shit member of Congress, Richie Neal. First
Okay.
lived in Massachusetts. He had a primary from a guy named Alex Morse. And Alex Morse he got 40% of the vote in Western Mass. In like the Springfield area, the Berkshires, that area of Massachusetts. If he had won that, I don't know what Richie Neal's take on all this is. I know he's a corrupt member. Maybe he is. Maybe he isn't one of the members that's holding this up. But he's in the pocket of like the health services industry. He's taking a ton of money from them. Very corrupt dude. But let's say that he was or wasn't one of the members that was holding this up. Just as an example. If he had lost his primary, he had been kicked out of Congress, and we gotten a progressive in his stead, that would be one fewer member. And when we're talking about 7, 8, maybe even 6 members that are the difference between success and failure here, 1 is a hell of a lot. That's 1/6 of the way there. We're 1/7, that's even 12% of the way there. We do that a handful of more times. We get just a handful of more Cori Bushes. We get a handful of
Cori Bush, who knew about what was happening, and then he came out here at the last second.
We came out here at the last second. I came out here. You came out here. We all came out here at the last second because we found out at the last second that we had these traitors in our ranks. We had these snakes in our ranks that previously said, "Oh yeah, I'll be there for the vote. I'll be there for the vote. I'll be there for the vote." At the last second said,
have you
"Oh,
thought
actually, I
that
won't be there
maybe
for the vote."
people like Cori Bush are just doing this to give people a false sense of hope and just optics? Just
No, I don't think that.
what? All right. All right, if you could make that argument though, just like make the argument for a possibility for that.
Make an argument for why I think she's here in earnest.
No, a counter argument to it. Why would you think someone would say that?
Why? I mean, I'm not really. You're asking me to argue something I don't believe here.
No, I know, yeah, but then you can present that, you can give the counter argument, and then you can explain why that's wrong.
Yeah, no. If I was Machiavellian, if I thought that everyone was just being completely cynical in all their behavior here, I would say, oh, Cori Bush knew from she had the inside scoop. She knew these members weren't going to vote for it, and she's manufacturing this for clicks or for donor money or to raise her own stature. But you know what? She is a freshman member from the 1st District of Missouri. Unless something weird happens in Missouri politics, she's not going to become a Missouri senator. I wish in a better world, but Missouri is probably not electing a Democrat statewide for the Senate anytime soon. Missouri is probably not going to elect a Democrat as the governor anytime soon, God willing, but it's probably not going to happen. In terms of winning re-election, Cori Bush, knocked off a longtime incumbent. She's doing fine in terms of re-election. In terms of what does she stand to gain from just getting some clout by manufacturing outrage on an issue? I don't think that's her.
Okay.
And if there's anyone better to speak to on that, it's her. And having listened to her,
I would love to talk to her.
Yeah.
Do you think that she should? Just to clear the water and gain the trust in some people who doubt her.
Look, my man, I don't know that it would be productive to argue with people whose idea of political ethics.
I mean, these are how some people think, and it would help her if people were able to regain some trust.
Having knocked on doors for a lot of candidates, having made phone calls for a lot of candidates. All
right, but that's you doing the work for them. Now they also have to gain some credibility.
I have come across people who have this sort of disposition, and I have found that acting in good faith towards these people and acting like if you just explain what's going on, they will come to see reason, is making too much of a charitable assumption. And so sometimes I do not think that it is productive. I'm making this argument because I'm a college student with nothing the fuck better to do. But sometimes I have found that it is not the most productive thing to have members of Congress appealing to the good faith of people who would rather scream on Twitter and post angry memes rather than come out here and do the work.
I mean, those people are angry because they're suffering, and they want their elected officials to do the things that they promise.
And I get that. I get being angry because of suffering. But very often, being angry because of suffering causes people to act in ways that hurt other people. Look, hurt people. That's the message. And if you're angry because you're in a tough spot, if you're angry because you know someone who's in a tough spot, and your reaction to that is to be reactive and to say, I'm going to lash out at the people that are out here doing the work and trying to pressure others to go do the work that we need to solve this issue, that's only making the situation worse. That's saying, I've lost my arm in an explosion. I'm blowing up something else so that other people suffer with me.
No, that's not what it is. It's calling out the person who it's calling out the person who caused the explosion, or whoever was complicit in the explosion.
The people out here, if you want to call out Nancy Pelosi for not whipping her votes well enough, that's totally valid. If when we find out who these people are, you want to go to their districts and tell every single motherfucker in their district, this person betrayed you, this person betrayed every homeless person in their district, that's productive. But if you want to come after the people, I'm not saying anyone here does, but if anyone wants to come after the people who are out here actually doing the work, suggesting that they're doing this out of cynicism, that they
I think the only suggestion
that is ridiculous.
I think the only suggestion that some of the people watching would give is to, and it's the advice I give to everybody, even the people watching, is to always keep informing yourself. So I mean, I'll leave you like with this, like, would you agree to talk to some more like, for example, Frito-Lay workers, talk to homeless people, talk to people. No, I know, yeah, but okay, that's good. Keep doing that. Just get their perspective. Like, never stop getting their perspective. Ask them how they got to where they got, and always think critically. Like I think critically of everybody who I get my information from. Everybody's gonna have their flaws, and then that'll help you be more informed, including myself, because I don't just accept everything that everyone tells me. But yeah, man, I think we have some agreements. We obviously have some disagreements, but I appreciate you, being brave enough to step in camera and say your piece.
I appreciate
All right?
being here. Look,
hey,
anything you can do to amplify this issue, get more people talking about it, get more people out here. That matters. Whatever we might disagree on, we're here for the people who are homeless and are going to become homeless as a result of what's going on right now. And anything you can do to stop that, that's more important than anything we talk about.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So this channel, if you want to see it, it's called Frank Analysis with a C, FRANC Analysis. And my name is Franco. If you want, you can give your name. You don't have to.
Yeah, my name is Dylan. I'm an incoming law student at George Washington University.
Awesome.
So please come out.
You play soccer there?
No, this is both my parents went to Santa Barbara, so we have some old merch.
Oh, awesome, yeah.
So
awesome. Have you played soccer?
In high school, but I'm not good enough for college ball.
Oh yeah. Same. I did like club college, but yeah, I wasn't gonna be committed for like college ball. It would have been a lot.
Yeah.
Like for.
Did you stop?
I was in Towson University.
Towson?
Yeah, Towson.
Oh, Towson.
In Baltimore County.
Did you cut your stream?
No, it's gonna be ongoing. But yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, man. Yeah. Take care.
We're all fighting over 1 million.
I suppose all of them, and like all of them have issues, like green has issues, people's party has issues.
All right. That was
At this point,
a very long conversation.
I'm just not.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is.
I don't know if I'll sit through that whole thing again.
Because after.
It was really long, and
I was like for a second in 2020 after that one.
I would rather spend time reading articles, but these are talking points I've heard several times before from people.
Nothing's happened.
Honestly, I feel like I would have.
But yeah,
Nothing has happened.
it's hopeful that there's a lot of people like you guys that see through some of these talking points and how counterproductive they are. But yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys for watching. I'm not ending the stream just yet.
I didn't think it was.
I'll walk around and cruise a little bit more. Corey Bush is still in.
He's wearing a workers'
Where is she?
party shirt at the same time. So
I'll go look for her.
I tied it to that. I was like, so would you ever want them to, leave the Democratic Party and
guys.
join the Working Families Party?
Did I miss Cory Bush? The car is still in there.
I think she's still in there. Why?
Because it looks like she's gone.
I mean, you can see if she's. I don't think she's sitting over there. I think she's still in the car.
She's probably gonna stay in there until
All night long until everybody leaves.
Yeah. Or at least until.
I don't think everybody's leaving.
Or at least until I leave, but.
Until you leave.
Yeah.
Is she in this car? The black?
Yeah.
She's in that car right there.
It's probably hearing
A
all
long
this.
time ago.
Yeah, it's probably hearing all this.
I mean, she might have gotten out and walked away. We weren't looking for the longest time. She could have left entirely, but I don't think so. I think she's probably still there. I just want to get these questions answered, bro. I hate how they have handlers.
I can
that
feel
come
your
up and block
impatience, man.
I'm so impatient.
You guys want to stretch out a little bit and like walk around and like keep chatting? Yeah.
Yeah, you just talked to that guy for like a whole hour.
Bro,
I swear
that
it was
so
like a whole hour.
long. Yeah. But I mean, I appreciate the conversation though. It gives people something to watch.
Yeah.
It gives people an understanding of how DC college students think. Thanks again, Dylan. Yeah.
So how many do we have out here now? Maybe 20?
Yeah, I'll head out in like a couple minutes.
I might leave too.
Yeah, because I want to go to sleep earlier than last time. Last time I was leaving at this time.
Yeah, at this point I'm not gonna get home until 1:30.
Oh, Colin's still having a conversation there. I guess that would be a good perspective to get.
It's necessary for people from Yemen. It's necessary for people from China. It's necessary for people from other parts of the world. So why do you think that you should have a special privilege that no one else carries in the world to be able to come to and fro?
They do that for
Israel.
They have that for Israel.
But that's probably because of the conditions, right, between Palestine and Israel.
No.
Maybe it's because of what happened to the Jews and how they had to probably be displaced in order to regain their asylum.
If Jewish people are able to kind of declare that, and that's
Oh, it's dry here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
my
that's wet.
my
I
ass is
sat on a
wet.
very wet spot.
Yeah, my ass is
then I
wet.
believe that is right.
From like earlier. It's not that cold out, so it doesn't matter. It's not that cold out, so it doesn't matter.
That brown, you feel me?
Right.
But she made a light skin.
Feels perfect outside right now, weather-wise.
Yeah.
A brown baby.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to driving
like
home.
black as hell.
Right.
But I wish we had just like an
all
instant
that to say,
teleportation device.
During segregation, my mom's
That's
way
the
old.
future, right?
She was born
Get
in
in a
1950.
get in one of those
And
speed
it's crazy
bullets
because
that
my
you
mom
know
was born in 1950 and her
here
best friend was
to
white.
Mount Airy,
That's
Maryland,
a hell of a dialogue
or at least
to
to
be
Frederick,
able to
Maryland.
share with me.
Go so fast I can get there in 5
It
minutes or
means
10
that we
minutes.
have to
Well,
be
this should be
intentional
a thing
with
here.
breaking the
Like,
chains
yeah,
of the
that's one of
messages.
the things.
See, I was never delivered any messages around racism growing up. My mom didn't teach me
That's one of the
about
nicer things about
I
Sweden
learned
is that like you
racism
can
from
take a train
firsthand experience.
basically
She
anywhere
didn't
in the
have to
entire
tell
country.
me about what
I
the
love
world
that
was
so
like.
much.
When I was 25, it was
I can get around without a car.
why you didn't tell me?
In America, you need a car to get around. It's like almost impossible to get around without a car.
It happens, but guess what? It
But
took me till I was
Because that's
25 to have it.
you gotta be rich to have a car.
But
Yo, where did that one guy go who's like, you're making people uncomfortable?
the message
He said that to you, right?
Yeah.
I did not know. Like, what was that in the
And
context
then
of? What'd you
he
say?
had, huh?
What'd you say that made him say that?
I'm not going to allow
Nothing. He just went up to me
I
and
don't
like,
know
you're
what you got.
filming
What were you-
people, you're making people uncomfortable.
What were you guys talking about though? Like I didn't even hear this. We were in a conversation, so I
He
didn't.
was like, he was like trying to figure me out, and then I gave him, I was like, all right, here's my Twitter, and he looked at it, he's like, all right, so you tweeted this out, and then like it was like when I was calling out AOC, like when she like ran away, and then I was like, yeah, I said that, and then I argued my point, and then he's like, and then here's a picture that you have here. It's a picture of the squad, and it's like no one want. It's better to know your enemy than to have fake friends who are your enemy, or something like that. And I was like, oh yeah, Sarcasm Stardust retweeted that. Shout out to Misty Winston. I retweeted that.
He thought he was
Yeah.
had you in these gotchas, right?
Yeah.
Wait, what's your Twitter?
Not to say, like,
Oh, it's at B43 Franco.
Classes, it's not just just race-based. Yes,
Yeah.
we have
Well,
disadvantage.
right.
I'm not going to say that we don't have disadvantage. But
Yeah,
the
Wait,
thing
that-
is,
what are you
that-
talking to that guy about? That
is
you've
the
talked
lack
to
of
for like a whole
support that
hour.
black
Is that
Oh
the
my
person or
God,
is
he
it
was
somebody
arguing
else?
to
If
me
black people created more
about
black
forced to vote.
if black
Didn't he
people
say that he
created
thought
more
direct
black
action was
banks,
like
we
meaningless
wouldn't
or
have to
something?
deal with
He
discrimination
said it was like
in
bad.
black
Or, like,
He was saying that we
people
have to
created
understand
more
the
black
strategy
jobs,
of
we
like,
wouldn't have to deal
I
with
mean, how
discrimination
Congress
in the
works.
job.
He's
If
giving me
black people, you hear how
Sam
we not
Cedar
taking
talking point.
responsibility for not
Someone in the
playing
chat
our
called
role
it out,
in
and I was like, oh
society.
yeah,
Black
he
people are
is.
not creating jobs. Black people are not
Sam
building
Cedar who
jobs
got
to
wrecked.
help house black
What?
people.
Sam Cedar who
We
got
got,
wrecked
like
by
I said,
Breonna
Black
Joy
Lives
Gray,
Matter, $220
and who didn't
million. They haven't
understand
built a single
that
building in America
like
to house black
McCarthy
people,
wasn't
but
going to
people
become
sitting out here and
speaker.
they
No,
don't-
it was
they
impossible.
don't
It wasn't
black
even possible.
this
Who,
fighting
I
for-
remember somebody started. It was
for
it
black
Sam
and
that
brown
started
people.
that.
It was
rumor?
Sam that started it, and
Listen,
and
we
Cenk
got to step
Uygur
up
repeated
and take
that.
responsibility.
It's because
And
they
quit
thought
thinking
that like
the
I guess they were
government
thinking that
is
in
to
terms
keep
of
giving us stuff.
if there was
This is
one
why
more
they're taking
Republican
away
than
our vote.
Democrat
No,
voting,
they're
they would
tired of
win.
listening
Or it's
to
But it
like,
was
what
really
if
you had
there's,
to get to the
he was
finish
saying
line.
that, oh, there's going to be Republicans that are going to fake their vote. They're going to act like they're for it. Like, okay, then they're doing the right thing for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Everybody
Then you
gets to
just,
go home,
you
go to
know,
sleep
well,
tonight.
okay, well, they
sleep
did that.
peacefully,
Then
and then
you
they talk their shit on their
don't
social
primary them, you just primary
about how
somebody
the
else.
government
That's the
is
thing, they won't
about
even
this,
say that
and the
because they
white
can't.
man
They're
is
not
all
allowed to
about
say
this. The
we'll
white
primary
men
this
are
Democrat.
65.
That's a
Because if you say they're going to
ridiculous
primary this
claim.
Democrat, they will come down with the iron fist.
And leverage their funding.
But it's like that's
to go
even more
and
reason
do our job.
why you
We
primary
ain't
those
building no
Democrats.
schools in America.
They only need
How
like
many
100
black
more
schools
Democrats
can
in the
you send
House,
your kids to?
100 more supporters of Medicare for all in the House. They have 117.
Because it wasn't
They
a black
need
white school to go-
a majority.
a black private school to go to.
It's like,
How many
We don't know
black
the shit
schools
they
that
have.
are not fully
how do you
about
get
public
Medicare for all if you're not
schools? Can you
primarying
take
the people who don't support
Uh,
Medicare for all?
At least he was like
But
respectful,
we
for,
wanna
like he was
bring the public
respectful,
school
like he
system.
wasn't
Yeah.
We're not properly
like
organized.
insulting me or
Why are we
anything.
dependent on a public school?
They're not being
Um,
Those are usually the better debates to have, right? You wouldn't have one like that with Bosch.
Nah,
I
he
feel
would
like
have
he would
started
smear-
calling me
he'd smear you
stupid,
personally at some point.
started accusing me of stuff.
You debated him already.
No, I haven't.
I'm fat as fuck. I need to work
He would
out.
start
But
speaking.
when you can say in the mirror, I'm fat
He
as
debated
fuck, I need to
Nico.
work out, and you keep
Nico
on
Howe.
telling
Yeah, how'd
you're
that
gonna
go?
make yourself lose weight.
He
Because you're gonna be
he
tired of
rage
looking at
quit.
yourself that way.
And
Black
yeah,
people
he
will
rage
not
quit with
look at
Jackson
ourselves in the mirror.
He rage
We
quit
will
with
not
Jackson
take
Hinkle as
accountability.
well.
That's why we got black officers that will treat black people bad.
He
And it's
also
on
he also
video.
rage quit with this guy
Because
named
we're
Infrared.
getting to a point
So
that
that's
we
the
will
only
find every
thing I know.
reason not to hold ourselves
The only three I know that
Yeah,
he
I
rage
couldn't watch
quit
that
with.
whole debate. I watched some of the Jackson Hinkle and Bosch. And like, it was like, I watched maybe like an hour. I have not done nearly as much research about the OPCW report, so I can't speak to like the specifics of every page of the report. So I was watching it not really knowing who was like, I mean, I know that Jackson and Aaron Mate are covering the story like, you know, in a much more detailed way, and that Bosch is just trying to cover it from the angle of like why he thinks it's bullshit, you know, why he thinks that we're just conspiracy theorists, why he thinks we're just crazy people.
It was a bad debate.
He was staring at us and then he went away. The guy who went up to us earlier.
Yeah.
And
I can
like
show
they
you an
missed the
80s
entire
and we
bigger
came
point,
here
you
before
know.
the 80s. We the
I mean, it's
first
like to
ever
me, I
congressional
definitely think that it's like
council in
significant
America.
that
We was
that
established in,
whistleblower report,
1976.
you know,
They
was
were established in the,
not
in
included
the
in the first
90s
place.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Because imagine if you
They
had
got
that in
whole
the
entire
original
shopping
report,
centers that
where
they go and they could
maybe
do
it was a false flag,
Meanwhile,
maybe it was
show me a
staged.
black shopping
It'd be a
center
lot
in
harder to
America
manufacture consent
that is only
for the
black
intervention
Right.
if
that
you
only
have
black
both
people
opinions
are
in the
making
report.
sure and
But because they
everybody
took
is-
that out of the
I'm making
report,
sure
and the
something.
report
I can
only
show you
said
black people
Assad
sitting
gassed
in
his own
the
people,
Asian nail salon.
it made it much
By the
easier for
judges.
them to go, see,
When
look,
are
the
we
whole
gonna take
report says this.
accountability?
Let's go
Can't
overthrow
keep
Assad.
blaming
Yeah.
Whereas if it
everybody
had the
else
more
for what we're not
balanced,
willing to look
you
at
know,
within
the both
ourselves. We have a
opinions in it,
problem. We
it'd
need
be a
to
lot
get
harder to
our-
sell people on it. That's
I
the
don't
only
ask
relevancy
about
I
a
see the
bull
report
crap.
having.
I'm tired of
Other than
hearing
that,
the
I just
same
think we shouldn't have
message.
intervened
Because
either
the
way.
same message
Yeah,
ain't
That
working.
even if he
Yeah,
did gas his
and
own people, he should not intervene.
That's the fucking
Crime
point.
rate is
People, like,
going
people
up
get
in
bogged
Chicago,
down in the
New York,
fucking
96% 87% of the homicides are black. Whose
the whole
responsibility
point
is
is
that?
that you
Not
shouldn't
the
be
black
there
community
in the first place.
It's just simply like, yeah.
It's not. We're
Should
not
the
gonna
U.S.
be like,
intervene?
oh
No.
my God, we
Even
been
if they did
killing
this,
each other
no.
way
Even
more
if they
than
did this,
police
no.
be killing us.
It's just
We
no.
stuck on
Because they-
police
they're not there
killing
for the
us.
right
Like, we
reasons.
don't kill each other by the boatloads every single
I mean, just
day.
talk about it at the UN. Like, to me,
We
like,
kill each
if
other
you have
by
human
the
rights
boatloads
concerns,
every
do it
single
diplomatically,
day,
do it
and
at
we
the
don't take
UN. Like,
accountability for it.
don't do it in a
Why?
way that
Because we
is
don't take accountability for it.
hypocritical to human
We're
rights.
not providing
In a way that's just going to
programs
make
for
it
our
worse.
community. We
They
don't take
always just make it
accountability
worse.
for it. We don't got no schools
I
for
mean,
our
what,
kids.
didn't
We wanna
Israel
talk about how
drop like
public
white phosphorus bombs on
governments
Palestinians?
schools
but then Assad gassing his own people. Like what? They're doing the same thing.
Inconsistent, yeah.
Yeah,
And they fucking fund Israel to do it.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, we oppose dictatorships, but then they support Saudi Arabia
exactly.
and all these other dictatorships.
Yeah.
It's like Saudi Arabia is. They don't even try to pretend they're not a dictatorship.
Yeah.
Whereas at least Cuba and Venezuela, they have elections.
Yeah.
At least even
They
in
just
Iran,
keep voting
even
for
in
the same
Iran,
people.
they have a half elected, half Ayatollah. And I know that you would say that it's not. It's probably not democracy at all. But comparing it to Saudi Arabia, would you say it's more democratic than Saudi
Yeah,
Arabia?
definitely. At least Saudi Arabia, was it like 5-6 years ago when one could find under drive?
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? At least in Iran they have more, right? But yeah, it's a lot more fucked up. But it's just they give them more autonomy. And Iran, it's just they give them more autonomy.
Starflyer 59. You're invading. Wait, let me see what you said.
But see, it's just so
You're invading my
frustrating.
consciousness with your fascist camera.
Or like, okay.
Oh god.
Blaze is right over their head usually.
Jamal Khashoggi, they literally dismembered a Washington Post journalist.
But then
All right, guys. You know what?
No penalty.
Yeah.
I'm like,
How does it make any sense?
Right.
How are you going to sanction Cuba and then keep
about to
giving
head out.
Saudi Arabia more weapons, even after we found out with Pegasus
Yeah.
that they were spying on Jamal Khashoggi with the Israeli?
So Cori Bush still is in her car, and she won't leave. She won't get out. She doesn't want to hang out with any of her comrades, and that's probably because I'm here, and she knows that as long as I stay out here, I'm gonna wait until she comes out. But it's whatever. I live in DC. I'll run into her again. She's really cautious right now. She's really cautious right now after that interview that she had with Max Blumenthal. I feel like I don't do enough videos with my hat off. Yeah, she's scared after she got confronted with Max Blumenthal, and Max Blumenthal made her, stutter because she didn't know what to say after he called out Status Quo Joe. And now ever since then, her bodyguards are protecting her, and she's hiding in her car. But yeah, this is how they are. They're supposed to be for the people, but they're afraid to talk to the people. They're afraid to talk to independent content creators, broadcasters, whatever you want to call us. But they'll gladly talk to corporate media, though. They'll gladly talk to them and appease the viewers that watch those channels. Those viewers that are still in the Matrix. I'll be out again. I'll do it. I'll go to more events around here in DC. Hopefully, I'll have some more run-ins with politicians. But yeah, take care, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. I love you guys. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to Frank Analysis, support the MCSC network. Shout out to Glory Jones and Ali Alexandra who are in the chat. And stay informed, guys. Like I always say, stay informed. Think critically. Don't be a sycophant for anybody. Don't even be a sycophant for me. Always question everybody. But yeah, take care, everybody. Good night. I love you all. Oh yeah, and if you want to help with the GoFundMe, which is in the description, that would be very much appreciated. But I understand a lot of you guys are struggling, so don't feel pressure. Don't feel like you have to. But I appreciate you guys no matter what. Take care.